muted. Okay, there we go. All right, let me turn down this music and Kai a little bit. There we go. And music too far down. All right, we're getting everything back to where it was. Let's see here. I need this and I need it looped, please. Looped twice. Thank you. So how's it going, everybody? It's your boy Dutch Matrix here. As you can see, I'm still scuffed. Hold on, let me get rid of this. What the hell? What the hell? Half of it moves and half of it doesn't. What is going on
in the world
here? Hold on. Oh, I know why. Oh, there we go. Okay, now you guys can see it. Can I minimize this though? No, then it disappears. Great. Okay, so that just has to stay up the whole time. Wonderful. As you guys can see, I now have my PNG tuber set up here. So what's up, Mac? Good to see you. Hopefully we'll get some more people in here. I know it's late for some people. It's early for Kai. And we had a decent,
the sun's coming up here.
We had a decent turnout last time, but we'll see what happens. No worries, no worries. Either way, we'll have a good time. Let me introduce you guys to, oh, it's Lucian. What's up, Lucian? How's it going? You want to say hi,
Lucian? Kai? Yeah, hey, everyone. How's it going? Hey, Lucian. Hey, Dip Mac or MCAC. I don't even know. I apologize. I know you're the Aussie guy, so I know that.
Macaque. So today, actually, let me turn it down in my ears to my music. When the music's too high up and I'm talking, I feel like I'm gonna yell the whole time, so I need to turn it down on the actual like Spotify.
Yeah, I have to like, I gotta do that on when I'm like streaming myself, because otherwise, if my headset's too loud, I hear the game audio over myself, and I'm talking louder and louder every time I speak. So I got to try and like have it down low, but I like to hear the gameplay too. So it's trying to find that right balance of the two. I think that's the issue for a lot of people.
Yeah. So tonight we have a couple things to cover, as you guys may have seen in the thumbnail. A few things. I have a bunch of stuff in my Twitter folder. We're pulling a full-on Cecil here, so I get all my info from Twitter and I just put it in a file in Twitter, and then we're gonna go from there. I have a couple of videos, so but the main things we're covering tonight, and I hope Kai doesn't mind. I know you and Dill have both had your share of women issues, but we might get into some pretty heavy stuff tonight, so I hope that's okay.
I'm good. Yeah, it's cool, man. I got coffee and I got a stress ball here if I need it to give a good squeeze if I have to. So.
Okay. But before that, we want to get into some more lighthearted stuff, just because so right now my plan, I'm trying to work out the show where there's like certain segments of it, and the first part and the last part, I always want to start on a good note and end on a good note, especially for YouTube, like, because I know in the first 10, they watch your stream for like the first 10 minutes to see if anything they don't like is going to happen, and then you could get throttled. So I'd rather start it out with fun stuff and then move to, the more serious stuff in the middle, and then end it with fun stuff. So that's kind of the plan right now.
Yeah.
But I'm working out the segments as far as like actually planning them out in like a script later. I don't have a ton of time, and as you guys know, I'm kind of flying at the edge of my seat right now, just trying to put out content in general, just so I don't become irrelevant. So with that, let me talk to chat really quick here. So Mac, what happened to my model? Well, two things. One, I'm out my regular computer, so my tower computer is in the shop right now. I really should have done it on my 2 weeks off, but I didn't, and so now it's in the shop, and I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to get it back, because I'm not sure what I want to do with it. Long story short, it's a really old computer. It's about 15 years old. I have a new computer that I just haven't set up yet, so that'll be a thing that'll be happening shortly, but I really want to save my old computer as much as possible so I can run a dual PC setup, so I can run my games on one PC at really high settings for you guys, and then, or whatever I'm running on that PC, and then run my streaming stuff on the other PC so I can multi-stream well and have all the stuff, just split up the workload so I don't have any lag and it looks better and all that kind of stuff. So because of that, it's going to be in the shop for a little while longer. So for now, I don't have a model because my laptop would totally, and Kai can relate to this, my laptop would totally burn up if I was running my VTuber model right now, I think. And even though it's not a horrible laptop, it would still be chugging. So I just, it was just easier to make a new PNG tuber. And secondly, it's because the Friday Night Flame War is like news centered and yap centered, so I wanted to be like professional, so that's why I'm in a suit, and I don't want to pay for more clothes for my model because it would be expensive. So oh, and Burning Samurai's in here. What's up, Burning Samurai? And Maximus Metal, good to see you. So yeah, Kai understands my suffering right now until I get my PC back or I get my new one set up. With that, let's get into what I got here. Are you watching the stream so you could see what I'm doing, or do I need to put it up in the Discord?
If it's got audio, it would be easier if you can put it up in the Discord too.
Let me try to do that. Share screen.
While you're doing that, I did see earlier on that a YouTuber who's not in our sphere, a guy called Danny Go, announced that his son passed away tragically to cancer recently. So big shout out to Danny Go. Our thoughts and prayers are with you, man. You're probably never going to see this, but I just wanted to put that out there. It's a tragedy, and yeah, my thoughts and prayers are with you.
I was laughing at the "you'll probably never see this," not the other part. Yes, I agree. I don't know him personally. I've never heard of Danny Go, but I appreciate that you brought it up. And yeah, it's never fun to lose a kid. That's rough. So we are praying for you. Speaking of which, I know that's we weren't supposed to get into heavy stuff already, but also there was that I don't know his name. Sorry, chat, but there was that NASCAR driver that also passed away tragically. He wasn't even in a NASCAR race at the time. He was in some kind of simulator, and he just got super messed up. I don't know how, but
oh damn.
Yeah. Tragic. I think he was only like 43, 45. So unfortunate, but let's move into some lighthearted stuff. So as you guys can see on screen, I have a little AI art where I just wanted to go over some AI art because actually fun generations I've been involved in this week. So we'll start getting Kai involved at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of these actually on Twitter, and I'm just like, hey, that's Dutch shit. Yeah, that's cool. I do see that you often put up, if you're gonna use my character in your AI art, please no lewd or not safe for work stuff. And it always kind of makes me chuckle because it's just like, yeah, Dutch is sticking to his values, you know. And not that you're sticking to your values, it makes me chuckle. It makes me chuckle because it's probably gonna piss someone off somewhere along the line.
Well, also I know that Bloop, if anybody knows her, I could talk about that another time, and I'm not trying to hate right now, so which I don't have any hate, but I know Bloop is having some issues with somebody who took her model and made some kind of not safe for work art when she says she doesn't want anybody taking her model and making not safe for work art. So
yeah, I've seen some of the stuff going around on Twitter. I'm not caught up on it, but I've seen like bits and pieces here and there.
So with that, it's I have an understanding that I can't really, once the art is out there, or even if it was my real self, to be honest, once it's out there on the internet, you can't really control what people do with it. If it's your real self, I guess it's a little bit easier because you can because you obviously you can claim like defamation or something like that. But if it's a cartoon visualization of yourself, it's a little bit more difficult, especially if you're allowing people to make AI art or even fan art of it. You don't really have control over what people do once you put it out there in the ether. But it's more of a, like you said, it's more of a respect thing. It's like, if you like me and you want to make art of me and you respect me, you'll respect that. If they don't, I mean, there's not really much I can do about it except for be like, you guys are annoying and assholes and I don't want to talk to you. But other than that, I can't really do anything else except for just ask people not do it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I think the internet is fucked up, Wild Westy kind of place still in a lot of ways, and I think if we all just had a bit more respect for each other, I think things would go smoothly a lot more. But that's just me. Maybe I'm old-fashioned for a Zoomer. I don't know.
No, I agree. I mean, it's that whole, again, I mean, even with doxing or threats or anything like that, a lot of stuff that we've seen go on the internet, it's way more like, we'd be way better off if people could just agree to disagree, or even just be like, how do I say this? I'm ignoring you, essentially. I am a preacher of a lot more people would get in a lot less issues if they just shut up like 5 sentences before what they said, like if they just quit before that.
Oh yeah, sometimes I think that old saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, is something a lot of people need to start incorporating into their lives again.
Yeah, or just, well, my kind of philosophy about it is I just make the one post about it, like I'll quote tweet or comment or something like that, and just make the one post, and unless someone is actually trying to engage in a respectful and intellectual way in the comments, which is really difficult on Twitter, obviously, but unless someone's trying to do that, I just kind of like leave it at that. And if anybody says stupid shit in my comments, or they just hate on me or whatever, like if it's illegitimate criticism or just hating, there's a difference between criticism and hating. But if it's just hating, I just ignore it, because it's like, you're not going to get anywhere with these people anyways, and it's obvious they want to rise out of you. So the best thing you can do is just ignore it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Donnie Wilmec, good to see you, man. Good to see you. We got Kai here.
Hey, Donnie.
So yeah, and then I think Kai probably, maybe this is the one that you're kind of more into. Not no homo, but yeah, it's more casual. This is legit, like, I did this one. Nobody did this one for me, but can I zoom in? No, I'm not gonna even try. But this is my more casual version of myself, and real talk. If me and Kai see each other in real life, I think he'll realize, he'd be like, oh shit, that's just actually you. So
yeah, like I did have a conversation recently with someone on Discord, and somebody I've been gaming with on and off for a while, and she was just kind of asking, she was just like, what is your natural hair color? Because I'm going to be disappointed if it's not purple. And I just went, no, it's not purple. She was just like, oh, I'm actually really kind of sad. Because we were on a video call, and I could hear the disappointment in her voice. She was really disappointed I didn't have purple hair.
I mean, you can always try, but then then it'll seep into your brain and you'll become woke, so.
Oh yeah, dude. I think I went for a period of dyeing my hair black, and I think that kind of did some damage to my hair anyway, so I'm not going down that route again. No way.
Oh my gosh. He's goth. Get him, boys.
Yeah, I went for a proper goth phase. Well, kind of goth. I didn't go on all for the makeup, but I kind of did the whole Dream of the Endless from Sandman kind of look for a while. Yeah.
I can't hate on you too much. I mean, you guys are the birthplace of that whole thing, punk and goth, I guess. So. Oh
yeah, that's one thing I'm happy about my UK roots. Like, we created metal, so
Sup, Elucidator, my boy Elucidator. What's up, dude? Thank you for always showing up as usual. My boy. So that's one of my things. Let's hear. Oh yeah, we can hype up Spider a little bit. So Spider is is back in the gym. Appreciate you, bro. Like, good stuff. He's trying to do that Chad, that life that I guess he's going with himbo. I'm not gonna call it that, but and he made this little picture of him, and I'm gonna have to downsize it again, but he put me in it, and I appreciate it. So
I think it's funny how there's like cat girls there. He's got a cat girl spotting him. I don't know if that's someone we know that I should know. I apologize if so, but I know Nyanus is there, Pixel's there, and I saw you there when you had the image up. So
yeah, that's Jess. You might vaguely know her. She's the leader of the
she's in the group. She's in the group chats.
Yeah, and then Leaf. He put Leaf in there too because I think that's his. Aside from Kirsch, I think that's his other crush or something like that. Gay.
Although, why did he whiteface himself?
No, that's not his fault. That's Grok just likes to steal his melanin. So
Grok is reverse racist. Is that what he's?
Grok Bidens him, where it's like, you're not black if you don't vote for me. Grok is like, no, we're just gonna make you not black. So, I do like the chat shirt though. So chat, if you want a chat shirt at some point, let me know. I don't know why it tickles my autism just being like, just a shirt that just says chat. And then if people come up to you in real life and go, what does your shirt mean? You go, I don't fucking know. It means chat. It's a representation of chat. But so he's at 212. I don't know what he's trying to do. I'm assuming lose a little weight and gain a little muscle. So more power to you, Spider. We're all behind you. I'm here to help if you need it. So I want more for the boys. More like this. That means you too, chat. So we'll get there. And I'm always here to help you guys and hype you up. I'm actually going to take my weight and take progress pictures tomorrow and post them up in solidarity with Spider. So no, I will not dox myself, but there will be and I know Dill showed you that one picture I have up. People can find that one picture of me. So
yeah, your face is not in that one, but I remember seeing that and I was like, holy shit, Dutch is huge. Like you're just like this massive hulking thing, and I was like, holy shit, you could crush me. Just like pick me up and crush me with one hand, probably. That's how thin I am.
I think you're taller at least, but because I'm only like 5'10" on a good day, so
I'm 6'5", 6'1". I can't remember. It's one of the three. It's been a long time since I actually measured my height, so but I know it's around that area.
So I mean, you have the height, but and that's the plus of being kind of a shorter guy is you can widen up, but well, it's a double-edged sword. You can widen up in the fat area easier, and you can widen up in the muscle area easier.
Yeah, I mean, the people go all tall. Being tall is great. It's just like, no, because people have this misconception that the tall person, you got to take them out first in a fight because they're going to be the beast. And it's just like, no, it's often the shorter people that are the ones you need to look out for. So if there's a big group fight, I'm one of the first to go normally, like unless I put up a fight back, which I don't really do anymore. But I'm the first person that normally they try to take out. Or, well, used to, because I don't really go to bars anymore, but, you know, back in the day.
Donnie, we're going to change you. We're going to make you into a brick house, not just a brick. You're going to be strong. You're going to be wide. You're going to wide Putin meme Mog on everyone. But yeah, so Spider, good on you, man. Let's keep it rolling. I will keep you accountable. Next, another fun thing. I don't know how... Kai, how do you feel about beef? Have you had Mexican beef before?
I've not had Mexican beef, but I have had Mexican Coke, and that stuff's lovely. Coca-Cola, I want to stress, by the way, chat, not the booger sugar. But yeah, Mexican cola, that was quite nice. But that does look lovely. I'm not gonna lie, that's a nice big slab of beef. It's
basically kind of like a skirt steak. Like a really big skirt steak that you just throw on a hot like flat iron grill and cook it like that. So you don't usually eat the whole thing. I could, for sure. But usually you cut it up and make it fit into the taco. Although I will say this person is not a real Mexican. You can tell both by the color of their hand and the fact they're using a flour tortilla. If you, when you're making street tacos, it's always corn. You always want to use corn tortillas.
I mean, that beef looks that looks a bit too much for that tortilla there. Is it tortilla? Am I saying that? Is it the right word to use?
Yes, a tortilla. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that looks like that's too much beef in there. That's all beef. So
another thing, if you come back out to the States, we'll have to get you to try, especially because the Duchess is Mexican. We'll have to take you to a good Mexican spot.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like that's like on my, weirdly enough, like all of my like trips like back home that I've ever like planned or thought about are like, just doing stuff like, I don't want to go to Orlando, Florida and do the whole, theme park stuff. I just want to go hang out with people like it was back in the day, like when I lived there.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, that's the same for me, even when I go to places where I don't know anybody. Like, again, Japan, like a lot of people go to Japan and want to go to all the touristy spots or like the Nintendo amusement park and Disney and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, bro, no, I want to hang out in like the local areas, get good food, walk around in nature, that kind of stuff. So I totally get that.
Yeah. Alex MQZ in the chat, how's it going, dude? Yes, I am joining by phone currently. Is there audio issues? You guys having audio trouble in the chat from me?
You sound fine to me, but you do sound like you're on a phone. So, I mean, but it sounds fine to me. It sounds like you're...
Again, I apologize, chat. I've got my mic and headset plugged in. It's just I'm having some mic connection issues on the laptop with Discord right now, so I'm not sure what's going on. It won't connect mic-wise. It just won't have any audio in. So
it's at least clear, in my opinion. So, and I'm fine with the phone because then it sounds, to me, it kind of sounds like a real like news interview. It's like you're in a different area and we're getting that audio. So, because even after all these years, the news still can't, like VTubers and stuff can have perfect audio, but even now the news has like a lag and their audio sucks.
Yeah, it is kind of funny, but yeah, I'm on location here in the UK, coming to you via phone.
Let's see here. Lucian said there are white Mexicans. You are correct. There are like Canelo Mexicans, but I'm saying this person in particular, whoever made this meat, is not a real Mexican because again, they're using a flour tortilla, not a corn tortilla. Now, if they were making a burrito, yeah, you use a flour tortilla, but you use a bigger flour tortilla than that. But if you're making tacos, you use corn. It's always corn. That's the authentic Mexican. Let's see here.
Yeah, the chat says my audio is all fine. It just sounds like I'm on a phone. Okay, fair enough.
We got Mac. He said you can get kangaroo meat in Australia. Yeah, I actually have thought about trying it, although I'm assuming it doesn't have much fat. It seems like it would be a very lean cut.
I want to try ostrich. I've heard ostrich is pretty good.
I heard it tastes like turkey, just like big turkey.
As long as it's not dry, because like a lot of people can't do turkey right. Like my mom always, whenever she did Christmas dinner, the turkey was always dry. It was like the worst thing.
Yeah,
we just get covered in that thing in mint sauce just to try and get it like moist a little bit. Otherwise, it was like chewing on cardboard that wouldn't get wet.
Yeah, you gotta baste it. You gotta put like butter on it. Like my mom, Dutch mom, mom matrix. Anyways, she she puts bacon around it to have the fat sink in there. And also butter, like she based butter on top of it. So I mean, it's more moist. You got to do that with turkey. It does get pretty dry.
I haven't actually had like a proper Christmas dinner for about 5 years now, because I go over, me, my dad, and my little brother. We often just like we'll have like a chili or something at Christmas now, because there's just the three of us, and we can't be bothered to cook a massive dinner for 3 people. So like, hey, we'll just whack a chili on and just go ham. So
Alex MQZ says ostrich is fantastic, so he's vouching for the ostrich. And Max says his grandma hates the kangaroo because she had one when she was young. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Mom tricks, yeah, mom tricks.
Yeah, I was gonna say Donnie Wilmwick's is mom tricks.
Yeah, Maximus Metal is right. You do still need gravy though. I still like, even after all the basting, I still need some gravy on my turkey personally.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna have like a roast dinner or a Christmas dinner, you gotta have gravy with it. You know, otherwise it's just what's the point?
Let's see. What do we? What? Oh, we got the fight from Rebel Ram. Rebel Ram's been doing some good AI stuff. So this is Spider and Pixel. We'll be with them tomorrow on VTAP, or I'll be with them tomorrow on VTAPs, just doing producer stuff. If you want to check that out, guys. So some pretty cool stuff. I don't know. I don't really use his thing, but he's using some kind of other AI to do this.
At least this one has given Spider the right amount of melanin, so
yeah,
something.
I believe they said, like, Spider also said that you have to specifically tell the AI to make him brown.
Oh yeah, so it's got like that ethnic blindness. It just assumes everybody's white.
Yeah, yeah. So, and well, it also makes Pixel into a woman constantly. Like it's a 50-50 split on if he's going to be a man or have tits. So
I have seen some of that, and I kind of want to joke. I'm just like, sometimes I want to comment in whenever he puts up one of him where it's done him as a woman. I'm just like, oh, I would, you know. I just want to comment as like a joke, you know. But I'm just like, I don't know if Pixel how he would feel about that. So I kind of hold back because I don't really have that kind of friendship with Pixel yet. So I don't want to comment something like that and it cause any kind of issues, like, so it's just better to just keep stuff like that to myself.
I think you'd be all right. He can take a joke, but let's see here. Let me just get through this. I mean, again, Rebel Ram, shout out. He made a little comic, and the reason we're bringing this up, other than them being buds, is then he put me into it, which is rad. Again, he makes these little like comic book covers, pretty cool. The words could maybe be a little bit better because I don't quite understand some of the stuff that they're talking about in it. And then it also called Pixel Cayenne for some reason. Can't. But and then he does, this is like the storyboarding of the fight here. So, and this 2D one is still a little bit difficult. It's having a little bit of trouble, but pretty cool.
Yeah, I do like how, like I think I've mentioned it before, how like everyone in our circle, their avatars all have some kind of like character backstory, and I'm just a dude. I'm like the lame Jimmy Olsen of like our sphere of people, like, but except I'm straight, not gay. So it's like, because Jimmy Olsen is closeted gay. I don't care what anyone says. That guy is definitely gay, especially in the James Gunn universe. I don't care what anyone says.
Who is he? What does he do?
Jimmy Olsen is he works at the Daily Planet in the Superman comics. He's kind
the
of
redheaded guy, like the nerdy guy.
Yeah.
That they swap to a black dude, or is it a black woman or something like that? Or were you not aware?
I think in the James Gunn movie, he's played by a white guy, but he's blonde. This
is Superman the anime that they made recently.
Oh,
quote unquote anime.
No, I've never watched like DC anime. So why are there hot dog cars? Is that what they are?
Yes. Before that, let me see here. Yeah. Let's see here. Ever since, this is Alex MQZ, and I've even started calling him that, even though I'm not any bit British, but it just sounds right now. Ever since I've seen Survivor Man, Les Shroud, take on that ostrich egg. I've also wanted to try one. So
Ostrich egg omelet. That's gonna be a big ass omelet.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I can kind of I had a goose egg once, so I can kind of like give you guys a comparison. And literally, it's literally just a bigger, richer egg. So it's not like it tastes any different really, except for it's just richer and there's more of it in one, and the shell's harder. So you get like the goose egg I had to hit pretty hard on the table, but an ostrich egg I think you need a hammer for it.
Probably because like the shells on those are pretty thick.
And then Donnie Wilmack,
yeah,
emphasis on the brown because holy shit, never say black or dark skin, nightmare few. For the AI,
but,
yeah, I think if you said dark, they'd turn you into like a backrooms monster that Kai will have to see.
Oh yeah, that's definitely coming. But yeah, don't blame me for Alex MQZ. That pronunciation, that was Nyena's. She says that whenever he pops up, or she did. But that's where I got it from. I was just like, I don't want to say Alex number X Y whatever and make it sound like one of Elon Musk's kids. So I was just like, I'm just gonna say what Nyena says. Screw it.
I thought you were saying it because Z is Z in the UK.
XYZ, Z doesn't really matter these days. Like back when when I first moved over here, it was like kind of both. It all depended on however you felt that day, but now it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So like Shaggins, like for years, me and Shaggins were going back and forth of whether it was a Z or Z, and even he says Z now. He doesn't say Z, so.
You know what? You might be right because freaking Yanis is Canadian, and I thought they said Z in Canada too, but she doesn't. She says Z, so I guess everybody got over that.
Who says America can't colonize in some way?
We got Jericho. Good to see you, Jericho Graham. How's it going, man?
Hey, Jericho.
And yes, so Greg says the European mind can't comprehend this. Can you comprehend this?
Well, I mean, I kind of can because I'm half American, remember? So I can kind of like the novelty of it I can comprehend, but that British half of me is like, why? So
maybe Lucian can't fully comprehend it, but it's the Oscar Mayer Wienermobiles. It's just a novelty thing. They have them drive around as like advertisements. You can see them on the streets in the U.S. sometimes. But I guess at this big NASCAR event, it's an IndyCar. Looks like big IndyCar, Indy 500. I guess they, as a halftime show kind of thing, they're having the Wienermobiles race.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the American half of me gets it, the British half doesn't, but then the American half of me doesn't get cheese rolling, which is something the British do. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, which is, it looks like a lot of fun. No, the British do it too. We do cheese rolling here down in England too. So yeah, you get a big roll of cheese, roll it down a hill, and people chase after it. No one knows why. It's something that happens.
I would do that, to be honest. I would try that once.
Oh, it does look like a lot of fun. Like they televised it for a couple of years at one point, but
people
they don't
really
anymore.
Get hurt at those things, don't they?
Oh yeah, if you run down the hill and you twist your ankle and you're halfway down, you're fucked. You're just going down that hill, and people are gonna roll over you, trample over you. You do not want to go down in that, believe me.
Well, if I'm already running downhill, why wouldn't I just somersault, actually roll down the hill?
Some people do. They, as soon as they go, they just roll. If they fall, they roll.
That sounds like a safer bet to me personally.
Oh yeah, I mean, rolling down hills is like a British thing anyway. Like where I live, there's a lot of hills. We're in quite a hilly area, and we used to roll down hills of golden grass in the summer. and stuff like that back in the day. But yeah, rolling down hills, it's just something we do. So.
Elucidator, I haven't heard about the Oscar Mayer in years. The brand was more visible in the 90s. Yes, it was. I agree. I picked up some Hebrew Nationals actually from Costco the other day because me and the Duchess, when we're really busy, just pop in a hot. I assume it's like Kai with like beans and toast or something like that. It's like if you're hungry and you're really busy, you just pop it in the toaster oven really quick, and then you're good to go with a hot dog. But from what I'm told, because the Hebrew Nationals are kosher, they're higher quality than all the other hot dogs. So that's why I grabbed it, because you know the you know who I'm talking about. They have to have the higher quality stuff. We get the slop.
I mean, like, as far as I'm concerned, a sausage is a sausage, a hot dog is a hot dog. As long as it's not vegan crap, I'll eat it, you know? And as long as it's not, like, well, I mean, it's pork, so it wouldn't be halal, so. But yeah, as long as it's not, you know, that vegan crap, like
you can
the
get
vegan
beef
Greg's
sausages.
sausage roll, so. Oh, yeah, I've had beef sausages before. Like, there was a Highland cattle sausage from Scotland I've had before, which is absolutely lovely, but they're flat and they're square. They're not
square
like
sausages?
Traditional sausages. Yeah, it's weird. I don't get how it works, but they're lovely, I gotta say.
I will have to try that at some point, but
I mean, dude, it's a Scottish thing. They deep fry pizza and chocolate bars up there. You know, expect it to be a little bit strange.
So let's see here. Let's go. What did I have anything? This is from last time. I don't need that anymore. That's some fat bitch. That's another fat chick.
What the hell?
A couple of these got mixed in from last time. I don't know why they're mixed up. I thought they went in a certain order, but.
Dutch, why is your timeline full of fat chicks? What's going on there, man?
Because I enjoy shaming them.
Oh yeah, fat shaming. We all got to jump on that train.
I can get rid of all these mixtape things, to be honest. I don't
God,
those.
that game, man. I watched Az and Mahler play that. They streamed it, and I was just dying laughing at them losing their minds over that game. I was like, I'm so glad I'm not big enough that people want me to stream this. Oh yeah, did you see the balls maxing thing?
Yeah, that's another one we were going to bring up here. So,
right, yeah.
Balls maxing. This is something that's come up. Boys, are you going to be balls maxing? Are you going to be ball mogging people? Because this sounds retarded. So, doctors are warning about a dangerous online trend called ball maxing, where men inject saline or surgical lubricants into their testicles to temporarily enlarge them. Experts say the practice can cause infections, no shit, nerve damage, no shit, and even permanent testicular damage, no shit. So,
it flabber fucking gasps me. It really does. The lengths that insecure idiots are going to try and influence other people to do stupid shit so they can feel better about themselves, because that's what a lot of this manosphere stuff is, and this red pilling manosphere shit is. It's a bunch of insecure assholes that want to influence other people to do stupid shit to themselves so they can feel better about themselves ultimately in the end. That's what it's all about. You know, the looks maxing thing. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna smash my face in with a hammer to make myself look better. It's just like, no, what the fuck are you doing? Like, stop doing that shit. You're not gonna fucking make yourself look any better at all. You're just gonna make yourself look weird. Like that guy, clavicular guy or whatever the fuck his name is. That guy don't look good.
Clavicular.
Yeah, that guy. You know, he doesn't look good looking at all. He looks fucking like, I don't know, man. He looks like the Chad Squidward meme, you know, like that, but like, you know, not funny. That's all he looks like to me, and it's just like, no, dude. Paint his skin gray and put him in an X-Files episode. Shave his head. There you go, gray alien out of Area 51.
Okay, my bad, guys. I was just I put 4 emotes on this thing, so now because I'm laughing at the balls. See, I'm pointing and laughing at the balls. But so, and I'm gonna try and make one for Kai too. Actually, pretty soon, I'm gonna try and make one of these things. So, and if you guys need one, let me know, because I'll do it on the cheap. Because it's not real, it's not my art. I'm just generating AI stuff, so I'll do it on the cheap. But no, I don't get this either, because I always thought it was like the dick that you wanted bigger, right? Like I thought that was the big thing, but they want their balls bigger. Like what? Like why? And then secondly, my other thing that I would bring up is they could just stick it in the microwave like Randy Marsh on the on South Park, and then there you go.
But no, like I mean, the big balls thing. I'm wondering if it's like you know, there was that old perception that women with bigger breasts, you know, they were more fertile and were able to, you know, break it back. But this is when like you could only breastfeed because, you know, like formula milk wasn't even a thing. But like, you know, there's that perception that bigger breasted women would be better mothers and things like that. So I'm wondering if it's some kind of thing like that. There's a perception now if you've got big balls, you're going to be more fertile. I'm assuming that's the only logical thing that would make sense as to why this is taking off. But
who are they showing them to? I guess women. But you wouldn't. It's not like you'd see them while you're walking around unless you're wearing like tight pants or something like that. And even then exactly. if you saw that, people would be like, "Yo, dude, can you get some bigger pants?"
Yeah, you know, it's like, and it's, also, women aren't going to see that unless you're like in an intimate relationship with them and you're in the bedroom, you know, unless they're going out and flashing women like, hey, look at my balls. You know, it's like that's not going to get you anywhere. But like that's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, I mean, surely it's like the dick that you want that's bigger. But
I feel like this is going to get clipped. But
yeah, as a couple of women have said to me over the years, it's not how big it is that matters. It's how you use it. That's what matters.
But I don't think that works in the case of balls, because you're not going to stick your balls in anything.
No, that's what I mean. Like, I don't get how it works. Unless, of course, they want a bigger dick, and then they're like, oh no, my balls look too small. I better pump it full of shit to make it proportional.
Let me see here. Donnie Wilmec, Dutch laughs at tortas. I do. A ball maxing sounds gay, correct, Burning Samurai. Ball max. So apparently Lucian's heard of this before. You're gonna have to fill me in on that. Apparently this isn't the first time this has happened in history.
Oh, okay.
Elucidator said there are videos of guys injecting saline into their balls in old shock videos. Yeah, I ain't going to look that up. You can go talk to Justin Wang about that one.
We should go to 4chan and find a load of this stuff and send it to Gundo.
No, we'll get Yannis to do it, because then we know he'll actually look at it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And Maximus and Elucidator are both saying that it's the it reminds them of the AC/DC. You gotta talk about, he's got big balls, she's got big balls, but we've got the biggest balls of them all.
Yeah. That's a Bon Scott era AC/DC tune too. That's an old one, really old one.
What the fuck, Lucian? No, I'm aware of some furries that prefer big balls and have a fetish for that, and I am aware of a guy that did this sailing stuff for a gay context, and this was way before this trend. I'm disappointed in humanity right now.
Oh God. I mean, like, I'm not surprised that there's like kinks that do this kind of stuff, because there's all kinds of weird kinks out there, man. Like, you hear about the tame stuff that's becoming a bit more mainstream now, but there's all kinds of weird shit that I've heard about over the years, and I'm just like, oh my God, why do people do this shit? It sounds horrifying. Like, you know, there's a knife fetish called knife play, where people use knives on themselves in the act, and I'm just like, I'm fucking horrified the first time I heard about this. I was like, are you fucking for real? Like, no, what are you doing? You know, it's just like, oh God, no.
Yes, Bigot Barry, we are ball maxing. For legal reasons, I do not approve this. This is a joke.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
We are ball maxing here. So that's all we really got to say on that.
This conversation got kind of gay.
No homo, no homo.
Oh yeah, no homo, strictly.
Oh, okay. We can go ahead and show Goth. I'm not gonna say this dude. What's his name? Jake.
Goth Andrew Tate.
Yeah. So I just want to bring up here, and I've changed to Angry Dutch because I'm angry. But the I just want to bring up here that he's completely right. It's
Yeah.
at least in my opinion, it's shitty, and it's really it's going to be really difficult going forward. But it is ultimately up to men to bring society back to being a masculine society, like putting women in their place and stuff like that. And a lot of women will be like, "Oh, you're misogynistic, you're blah blah blah." But it's like at the end of the day, women want men who are men. Most women, I should say, want men who are men. And if they're not finding it in the West because we're allowing them to steamroll us, they find it elsewhere, which is why there are a decent amount of people converting to, like, a decent amount of women who get converted to Islam or date Islamic guys or date guys from other cultures because they see them as more masculine. So
apparently the chat was saying it was muted, Dutch.
oh, gosh dang it. Hold on. Well, it's fine. We'll go back. We'll go back. Let me see here. No? Okay, I need to put the internet audio on the right thing here. Give me just a second, guys. Just a second. It's not set up like it normally is.
It would not be a bigger stream without some scuff.
Let me see here.
You think women are just going to be told
There
to
we
stop
go.
being massive cunts? They've literally told you, fellas, that men keep buying the OnlyFans, so they're going to keep making it. You know what they mean when they say that? They said, it's your responsibility. We're going to keep going until you stop us. Women are saying this to you, boys. Women aren't the problem. Men are the ones that are buying OnlyFans. Great. It's men's fault then. Women are refusing, to your face, they are refusing to take accountability or responsibility for any of this mess, okay? They're waiting for guys to tell them to shut the fuck up. They're telling you that. That's what...
So, real talk. Back to, I mean, you guys couldn't hear it, but you could see it, and now you can hear it, thankfully. But, yeah, it's true. It's true. They're not saying it outwardly. Like, they're not, like, women are never going to say, most women are never going to be straightforward with you. Like, most women will, especially about this kind of stuff, most women are never going to be straightforward with you. Most of them are going to go around it or give you like little hints and stuff like that, because that's just how women operate, and it's a survival instinct type of thing. I want to teach you guys a little bit more about, speaking of, hi Mia, how's it going, Bean? Sorry. So it's just a survival instinct thing, and because they don't want to get ostracized by the community. But yeah, they're telling you, they're like, unless you guys are going to take authority, we're just going to do it and push you around and be bitches and sell all of our, like, sell ourselves on the internet and all that kind of stuff until you put us in our place. So
yeah, he's not wrong at all. I mean, like, it's a markets thing ultimately too. Like, if there's a market for something, people are going to go buy it. You know, there's people want something, someone comes in and provides that service or that product. And, you know, if men don't stop buying this stuff, it's just going to continue to happen. But it's not solely a thing that men have done, because at the end of the day, women too had the opportunity to go, okay, there's a market for this. We're not going to provide the product for it if they really wanted to. But the problem is these days, a lot of people, especially of my generation, they want to take the path of least resistance to success and vast amounts of money, which is something I understand completely. Unfortunately, though, a lot of young women see that market and go, well, I don't mind spreading my legs and doing some naughty stuff to get a shitload of money from a bunch of desperate guys who've never been touched by a woman before. So that's what they do. It's a lot of people of my generation, especially, don't have the moral strength to look at what they do and go, how is this going to impact society in the long term? Should I do it? Because it might do negative stuff. It might damage society instead of helping it. Which a lot of young people do ultimately, because we're young and we're dumb and we have every right to be. But at the same time, things like this in the past have happened, not exactly because of the internet, but if you look at the fall of Rome, prostitution went up in the years leading up to the fall of Rome, and it's kind of what we're seeing here, really, with OnlyFans and Fansly. It's just online prostitution instead of street corners and brothels.
Yeah. And it's and that's what I'm trying to put out as well, is that it's just like it's both, it is men and women's problem. Obviously, I think women need to be held accountable, and I'm here to do that on my page, because I know men get all the heat most of the time. They're like, it's the whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps, be a man, that kind of thing. And to an extent that is necessary for men, because I do think a lot more men need to be stronger and self-improving and not at home watching porn all the time and playing video games for 10 hours a day or whatever. Like I know Kai would say in moderation, and for me, porn, it's like a total like no-go, like not at all, don't do it at all. But games and stuff like that, your hobbies, like I get it, you need a little bit of a little happy, a little escape from the mundane every once in a while, but it's got to be way more limited. And I'm gonna obviously call guys to the table on that, but people don't call women to the table on a lot of their stuff, and we're gonna get into that in a little bit, because we have a video about women from Lungs of Faith, and then we have another thing going on with this whole OFFAKI event thing that we'll be talking about, that it's a lot of women problems that need to be called to the table and called accountable. But when you do, the women always turn around and go, well, you're just being misogynistic and stuff like that. And it's really, it comes down to a thing where it's like men keep getting held accountable, and men either accept it, or the men that don't accept it get shamed into oblivion. But when it happens to women, it's the opposite, where it's like, no, they flip it around and go, whoever's doing the shaming is the bad one. And that's really one of the things that's impacting society. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is society at one point, back when the common consensus was that women should be seen and not heard, like this is back in like the Victorian era, women didn't need to be held accountable for anything because they were basically second-class citizens. They didn't really have a lot of responsibility, and a lot of their actions didn't impact society in a negative way. It's only been the last sort of 80, 90, maybe 100 years, when things began to change and equality began to come in, that it's just like, hang on, if you want this, you got to be held accountable for the shit you do wrong, and the shit that you do that upsets the balance of the established order, or tips the scales the other way to the point of chaos. And a lot of women don't like that. That's especially of my generation, sadly. Picket Berry, women are for kissing and not talking. That's an attitude you could definitely have. But that's just like, I think that's the thing. We're in a new world still, in a lot of ways, and we still don't know how to deal with it on both sides. I think, looking at it from from the point of view of a man who's kind of done with a lot of society, like I've kind of backed away from so much stuff. I just don't care about a lot of stuff anymore. I've not black pilled. I've gone back to gray pilled apathy. But on a plus note, Dutch, you said that I would argue that porn is good in moderation. That is no longer the case. I have successfully gone a month now without using any kind of pornography, and
Based.
I'm feeling better for it. And I'm very much on the I won't use porn, but I won't tell you not to if you choose to train. Like it's not for me anymore. So but yeah, I've gone a month now, so yeah, I feel kind of proud of
Good,
that, to be honest.
good.
So
I'm proud of you too. And Bigot Barry, to be honest, when you said that's a real Mr. Fantastic quote, I thought you meant Pedro Pascal, and I was like, they had Pedro Pascal say a based quote. What the fuck?
oh
But
no, he ain't gonna say anything
yeah,
based.
no way. Especially after I was gonna cover that before. Not that I have a ton to say on it, but that whole Pedro Pascal kissing what was that one late night guy? I can't remember, his Colbert. I'm like, ew.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like that. Colbert's writing a Lord of the Rings movie, the horror of that. And there's a lot of jokes going around now that Pedro Pascal did that to try and get a part in this Colbert Lord
He'll
of
get
the
one.
Rings movie.
He'll get one.
I just have this horrible feeling that they're gonna cast him as Tom Bombadil in that movie, and there's only one person that could play Tom Bombadil that's actually famous, and that is Matt Berry. He could play Tom Bombadil without a doubt. He's the only man alive that could pull that off. Sorry, not sorry, but that's the way it is.
Lucian Wolf, that was so performatively gay. Yes. And also, I know, let's see here. Donnie said, I'm grateful my grandfather told me this when I was younger. Quote, a woman wants a man, not a boy she can boss around. I miss him sometimes for that. I'll get into that in just a minute. And then Elucidator, the simp apocalypse created an easy button for feminists dominating bitches. And these women took advantage of these men's loneliness and fear and cancellation, false allegation. Yeah. And that's, let me start with Donnie. One, yeah, your grandpa was right. I blame most boomers for the whole happy wife, happy life mentality. Because that's part of the reason we're in the situation we're in, is because the boomers kowtowed to the women in their lives. They went, oh, if I just be passive and sit and watch my sports, and she can, she'll do whatever she needs to do and it'll be fine. And that's why they started out with some of the highest divorce rates, as well as the whole free love hippie movement, whatever you want to call it. Like, man, that was really where it started off. And I do remember, even in my childhood, having that same thought where it's like, oh, I put women on a pedestal, and as long as they're happy, it's cool. I never, not thinking about, no, women want a leader. Women don't generally lead. They're not very decisive usually, all that other stuff. And it's like, to be that as a man, you have to think about yourself first. As selfish as that sounds, you think about yourself first in the way of, like, if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of the family. So you have to put yourself first. And obviously, if you're the leader, it demands respect. And if you don't get that respect, it's like, well, then what's the point? Like, why am I taking on all this added extra responsibility and work if I still am not the king of the castle, so to speak, aside from Christ, obviously. So
Yeah, I mean, like, I was having this discussion with a friend of mine. Well, that's not so much this discussion, but a similar discussion. Because a friend of mine, he's having some rough times with his lady right now, and he came to me for some advice. And I was like, dude, I'm probably the worst person to come to for advice. But he's like, no, dude, for some reason, you're almost always chronically single, but you give the best relationship advice for some weird reason. So I was like, okay, what's going on? So he told me what was going on. And I said to him, one big problem that people of our generation have, especially Gen Z men, is we were told, go to school, do well, get your good grades, go to college, university, go to work, and you can have a loving wife and kids. But now it's very, very hard to do that. And we were sold a lie, essentially. A lot of people, that's how a lot of guys feel. And I said to my friend, I said, why do you think a lot of, especially here in the UK, Gen Z men don't want to work? He's like, why? I said, because they see no benefit to it. Why go to work and work yourself into the bone for absolutely no reason? Because you're still single, you're coming home at the end of the day, you don't have a wife and kids, you're coming home to, like me, alone, an empty house, or you're coming home to a roommate who's probably doing the same thing you're doing, just going to work and coming home. And what's the point of putting all that effort into something if you're not getting anything back out of it? If you're not putting in, it's like you get out of life what you put into it. But a lot of young men, they go to work, they're not getting essentially what they were promised, the wife and kids, which is what most guys want, even if they won't admit it. And like, I understand a lot of Gen Z men's point of view on it. Why go to work and do all this stuff if we're not going to get what we were told we would get for doing that when we were at school growing up, And it's a sad reality, but it is what it is,
Yeah, and I agree completely. We were sold a lie. We were sold the Disney fantasy of, if you're a good guy, you'll get the princess at the end. You get to save the princess, not knowing that the women that we thought were princesses, most of them turned out to be the monsters, actually. And they have control, and it's like there's not a whole lot that Gen Z guys can do about it. So obviously I can empathize. And even though me and Kai have talked about this, even though I came to a point in my life where I just basically had to have a talk with God and be like, look, if you have a woman set for me, I want that, and I'm ready for that whenever you want to give it to me, but I don't want it to be another one like my ex or these women that I've been dating and stuff like that. And if there's nobody out there that's going to be a good woman for me, that's going to be a healthy woman for me, I had to accept and talk to God and be like, look, if there's no one out there for me, I accept that there's not going to be anyone out there for me, and I can just be alone. So I had that talk and that exception, and I mean, it made my life a whole lot easier. And then stuff happened, and obviously I ended up with the Duchess, but it's still in my head that if that had to happen, if I had to be single for like the rest of my life, that it's like, that was a big possibility because of, like you said, how women are and how we were sold a lie. And it's also something to be talked about, that even with that, even me getting the Duchess as I did when we met and when we were dating, like, dude, I was prime time Dutch. Like, I was like in some of the best shape of my life. My job was decent enough. It wasn't great, so I wasn't making like amazing money, but I wasn't making bad money. I had a plan for career wise and stuff like that, and other options if that fell through. I was trying to be fun and spontaneous, and I was kind of a bad boy a little bit. And what else? I had a lot of qualities that I think a decent amount of women would find attractive, aside from not being 6 feet tall and not having a ton of money. So, and the biggest thing was I was fun, and I didn't give a shit if the woman wanted to leave or not. I was just like, look, it's my way or the highway, and if you want to take the highway, like, I'm not going to stop you, and I'll be cordial, but I'm not going to stop you. Like, you either going to follow me or we're not. This isn't going to work. And that's why it didn't work with so many women. But all that to say, I can empathize with Gen Z guys as a millennial, because I even had to come to the point in my life where I was like, you know what? I might just have to accept that I might be alone for the rest of my life. And until I got to that point, I was putting women on a pedestal, and that's kind of what broke it for me, where it was like, at that point, when I accepted that I could just be alone for the rest of my life, even now. And I've told the Duchess this, and I will share this, but it's even now when I was going through women and dating women, I was like, you know what? If it comes to a point where I'm ready to marry a woman, I have to have another talk with God and be like, look, with myself actually, and be like, look, are you prepared for this woman to have the possibility of being able to totally completely ruin your life, like where you're going to be living in a car for an extended period of time, and are they worth it? And I came to the conclusion after a long time of dating and a lot of ups and downs, and her meeting me on my level, on my criteria of what I needed in a wife, that I was like, okay, the Duchess is worth it. If she ruins my life, I'll be okay. Like I can survive because I know I didn't get tricked. Like it just, if my life gets, I would be like Yanis's dad, where it's like essentially as long as she doesn't fool around behind my back or something like that, I will, she could do almost anything and I will stick around, similar to Yanis's dad. It's like it's a ride or die situation. So
I mean, like, I think the best quote I ever heard about love, and like from a man's point of view, giving his love to a woman, came from Shaggins actually. He said to me, to love a woman is like giving them a gun, and it's a loaded gun. Sometimes they will shoot you with it and they'll get you in the arm or the leg and it'll hurt, but there will be one woman that unloads the entire fucking mag into you and it'll destroy you. And in a weird kind of way, I think he's right. Based on some of my experiences, somehow you do keep going. But I think a lot of young men these days, they're so afraid of being alone that they will put up with all kinds of heinous shit from a woman. And it's like, you know exactly what she is, and you loved her anyway. So you kind of brought some of the pain on yourself in a fucked up kind of way, which sucks, but that's where we are, really. And going back to briefly, the thing of men accepting that they might be alone forever, I don't think that's something a lot of men can do. And I think that's why a lot of men end up becoming alcoholics and drug addicts. And ultimately, I think that's a big thing behind the male suicide rate. Is I think we have this nature, it's built in us to continue the species, pass on our genes and that kind of thing. And if you look at some species of animal, and they figure this worked with dinosaurs too, if they failed to breed every breeding season, they would ultimately die eventually, that individual. And I think that's kind of nature's fucked up kind of way of dealing with it. I mean, Dutch, I'm not a believer, so I won't say it's God's way, but I would say it's nature's way of kind of keeping things under some kind of control in a weird fucking messed up kind of way. But I think that's why a lot of young men these days do end up taking their lives. I think that's not necessarily the sole reason, but I think it's a big component of it, and I don't think people have really given that much thought. That could just be me, though. I could be wrong.
I would say I agree to a certain extent, but one thing I would say is I would say it's not God's way. We're in a fallen world, so that's sin. I know, as much as I'm not here to argue about it with you or anything like that. Like, I'm just laying it out.
Oh, no, I know, yeah.
As far as I see it, or as far as the Bible lays out, which is that it's and whatever people feel about it, whether it's whether they feel like it's that it contradicts itself or something like that, I don't know, but to me it makes sense. And so I have to explain it in this way, which is God's plan was never for it to be that way, but because we sinned, it is that way. So it's like it's a weird thing where I give everything good that happens, I give to God, and everything bad that happens, I blame on either the devil or sinful human nature. So it wasn't like God intended it to be that way. It's just how it is because of sinful human nature. But at the same time, I don't know about the whole nature like keeping us from keeping certain people from breeding. I think that is to an extent true, obviously, because there's preferences for a reason that most people have. Like the majority of people would prefer that their kid not come out with disabilities, obviously, if they can avoid it, and trying to make a baby with someone with disabilities, I would say, generally speaking, from a medical sense, you're more likely to have those disabilities, which you would think that's probably why people with disabilities don't generally end up having kids. But I don't think it's like a population control for humans at the very least. And you got to figure throughout time, it's like that video that I sent to Nanis that she watched a little while ago, where it's like ultimately throughout history, unless you have a replenishing population that's beating out the older population, the vast majority of men in a shrinking population don't actually end up getting don't usually end up having a partner, because women usually date older guys and older guys usually date younger women. So the if the population is shrinking, the older generation is obviously a bigger size of the population. So the older men obviously get the pick of the younger women because the older men have more money, experience. You would think that most of them have a better understanding, at least, of female nature and how to charm women than younger guys, especially with, I would say, younger guys not getting taught how to speak or how to talk to women in a way that attracts them. They, like, not that there's a class on how to freaking attract women, but obviously I would say big brothers and dads and stuff like that in people's life in the past used to be able to tell you, like, oh yeah, this is how you get a woman. But with the boomers and the Gen Xers, they kind of just told us, like, oh yeah, you just go out and you be nice to a girl, or I got told to just be friends with a girl. But guess what? You don't get a romantic relationship from being friends with a girl. You get friends. So
yeah, exactly.
That being said,
another thing as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go on. No, okay. I mean, another thing as well is people, certainly of my dad's generation, you know, me and him have had conversations before about, you know, how to meet women and stuff. And I'm like, dude, you were my age in the 80s. It's a completely different ball game now. That's like 40 odd years ago, nearly. Things have changed since then. It's not the same as it was. You know, it's, yeah, you can meet women in bars, but you're a lot more likely to meet a woman online now and stuff like that. For my generation, it's not the same as it was. The whole game has changed. And unless you're out there in those trenches, you're not going to understand it. You know, the rules changed when the game changed. And I think a lot of older generations don't quite understand that because they lived an entirely different experience to what, you know, guys 18 and up are experiencing now. And it's that difference of experience because of the generational gaps that's causing a lot of friction as well, I think. But
I agree. And that's like, again, it's like you also have to think that people who were dating in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even up until the 90s, I would say. So that would be boomers and Gen X for the most part, maybe like older millennials. But those people, you got to figure women's nature wasn't as rampant back then either. Right now, we're at a peak of women's nature being able to be allowed to run wild, as in, like, there's no control and there's seemingly no way to get control of it, because again, if you do that as a man, you're running the risk of at least at like the best case scenario being canceled or called a misogynist and them just being mad at you, and then them going and telling all their friends that you're an asshole. So then you don't get any, obviously you get shunned by the society, or at worst you get false accusations, you get pushed completely out of your social groups, out of your community, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And because women have that legal power, even though there's still mostly men in high positions in companies or in politics and stuff like that. All those men are still just they're the hand of the women that are supporting them, essentially, because they're like, oh, there's more women than men, they're a bigger voting bloc, they spend more money than men, so obviously it's more appealing to even the men in power to appeal to women, and let them get away with stuff and make the laws to benefit women, because that's where they're getting their paychecks, that's where they're getting their support, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's a weird turn of the wheel, if you will, how things have gone in the last 20 years. But the thing is a lot of those late Gen X, early millennial feminists, they're beginning to realize now that they fucked up. There was a video by Sargon of Akkad, Kyle Benjamin, where he read this article about a woman who was this diehard feminist, and she was anti-men, anti-this, anti-that, full on all for abortion and stuff. And she basically wrote this article, and you read this article, and it was like she's in this polyamorous relationship, and her husband does not pay her any attention at all. It's all about the other woman. And you could tell that the woman who wrote this, she was really, really unhappy with where her life is. And she was kind of subtly saying that these are the consequences of the actions I took coming home to roost. I made a mistake. Essentially, that's what she was saying without saying it. And I should have saved that video and sent it to you, because it would have been cool to have for the show. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. I'll dig it out and I'll send it to you anyway, so you can watch it. But Carl Benjamin, yeah, he does some really cool stuff over there on his channel. So, and the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, that's his main thing. That's a good podcast to watch, especially if you want British politics stuff. That's a good podcast to watch.
Sargon or this other guy?
Sargon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff. He's a little bit, what would you call it? Gosh dang it. They're libertarians. He's a little bit libertarian for my liking, but he does say mostly base stuff, I feel like, especially from where he used to be. I know he used to be a little bit more leftist, but he seems to say some pretty base stuff when I have seen his clips. So so from Jake Moonroe, weird name for a British guy. Moonroe.
I thought it was Munro.
Maybe it's Munro, but Munro isn't really spelled that way.
He doesn't sound British to me.
I know people in chat were saying for a minute he has a very slight British accent, but yeah, he is actually, I think he's in the UK. He's in around Ur and Dill's stomping grounds. So,
well, I'm only half British, and I'm in a Discord server that's not related to any of our circles, and they call me Atlantic in there because they don't like that I'm half British, half American. So they're just like, well, the Atlantic's in between the two, so your name is Atlantic now. So they just call me Atlantic, which is kind of funny.
So Lucian said his 2 cents, getting something out of what you put in, is that people don't tend to have a hobby where they would meet other people, including women, to which I would say I agree. Most men stick within the hobbies that are mainly man dominated, like games and tabletop and all that kind of stuff, or sports. But I would also say, though, a lot of those places where you would meet women in the past have kind of gone the way of the dodo, or just become way too women dominated, where men feel like they can't. Actually, good transition here. Let me see. Give me a second. Let me find the clip. I know I put it in here somewhere. Yeah, this one right here. There's this girl at the bar that got approached by a dude, and she gets approached by dudes and then just keeps acting like it's disgusting, like she's throwing up and stuff like that, and she's recording it for a TikTok. And like Nanis was saying earlier, yeah, it's really destroying male-female dynamics because and even bars and stuff like that. I saw something come up that a lot of bars in New York, that'll be on the video later. Maybe I should just watch it now. Let me just pull that up really quick here. I was watching a different Jake Monroe video. You can go ahead and talk while I pull it up.
From like, you bring that up, I mean, that's just retarded behavior as far as I'm concerned. You're not really impressing anybody of any worth by doing that teenage kind of thing. And as far as I'm like concerned, I mean, I've seen stuff like that in bars before in recent years. Me and Shaggins, you know, we've gone out places and we've either seen not stuff exactly to that degree, but we've seen like a group of women. There's always that one friend in a group of women that
the fat one,
just normally the fat one, yeah, that cock blocks any guy. And it's like Shaggins said to me once, he goes, it's always the fridge guarding the snacks. And because Shaggins being full on British, he's not the polite kind when he doesn't want to be. He will just full on fucking annihilate people with words, and it could be quite funny. But it's true, you know. It's either the fat one or the ugly one. That's not fat, because sometimes you do find the slim chicks that aren't exactly good looking to your personal tastes as an individual. But some people, like, this is the thing, like, just because I don't think a woman's attractive doesn't mean she's not attractive to someone else, and that includes, you know, large women.
You can be blunt
there
here.
are dudes out there
you can be blunt
who
here.
find large women. You know, there are people that find large women attractive. You know, it's not me personally, but there are dudes out there that like that, you know. And there are women out there that like, you know, short, squat, balding dudes that are like 45 and 50 and they're like 19, 20, which makes no sense to me. But, you know, you got to think, has that guy got a big bank balance? Is he just a good guy, or has he got a monster fucking trouser snake, you know, that they're into? So, you know, some of the questions, they're unanswerable.
No, he has some, he's been ball
time.
maxing. He has some huge balls.
That's probably why he has no hair. Fucked his testosterone 7 ways to Sunday. It all fell out.
But yeah, well, for me, it's and in this video, we'll watch a little bit of it. I don't think we'll watch the whole thing because it's 27 minutes, but I put the link in the chat there if you guys want to watch it. And if you're interested, Kai, I'll send it to you. This guy is a Christian guy. He's Orthodox, so he does bring up that kind of stuff, but he has been talking a lot about social issues and why we're in the place that we're in right now. I really like him. I'd love to collab with him. If you watch this Lungs of Faith, I would love to bring you on the show, interview you, talk about some stuff. But he does some great videos on this stuff, and I want to promote him more because I pretty much agree with everything that he says. So we will watch a little bit of it and get into it. But in this video, he brings up that I believe recently, especially in like the New York bar scene, that they're actually like begging men to come in. They're like, sometimes they're paying dudes to come in, or they're just grabbing them in off the street and like being like, hey, do you want to come into the bar or the club for free or get a free drink and stuff like that? Because it's been overwhelmingly like the amount of women in the bar compared to the men, which this is not how it used to be, by the way, guys. From what I understand, I was never into bars and stuff like that, but from what I understand, back in the day, as a dude, you always had to pay to get in, and they were always trying to get more women in the bar. But now it's been flipped apparently. So, and part of
how the tables have turned.
Part of the reason is because men are staying home because of stuff like the video we watched earlier, where it's a woman acting grossed out by just a dude, you know, shooting his shot. I'm assuming he didn't say anything creepy. I'm assuming he just came up and tried to make conversation, and she immediately started acting like throwing up. And it's like, you can still be nice and cordial if you really don't want to talk. If you don't find him attractive, just be like, Sorry, man. No, I'm not interested. That's all right. But she takes a full TikTok and stuff like that and humiliates him online. So it's like a lot of people aren't going out to these places anymore. A lot of men, because they don't want to be recorded and humiliated just for approaching, which is women, again, being contradictory. Like, ha, women, sip your coffee, or me, for me, it's Poggers, 10% off with code Lionheart. You know, ha, women. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, this is the thing, like, basic human decency and basic manners cost fucking nothing at the end of the day. And a lot of women go, oh, you know, we don't get respect, blah, blah, blah. Respect is, it's got to be earned, darling. You know, if you're going to be disrespectful just to a guy coming up and asking if he can buy you a drink, are you really expecting him to be respectful to you back? You know, I mean, I went out to a bar with some friends. This was back in 2024, and Shaggins was there, and if he was here, he could back this up. And we all went to the bar, and sort of a friend of ours was with us. He was more of a friend of a friend. He'd never been out to like a metal night that we all go to or used to, and he'd gone to the bathroom, he'd come back, he saw us at the bar, and there was me, Shaggins, an empty space at the bar, and then this chick. And he walked to the empty space and looked in this chick's direction generally to see where the barman was, the bartender. And she looked at him and said, I have a boyfriend, you weirdo. And he looked at her, and I say this, no word of a lie. He went, that's great. I'm gay. I'm just here to get a fucking drink, you bitch. And ordered his drink. And it's like, a guy can't even walk to the bar without some woman just assuming that he's trying to hit on her. And it's got to a point where it's ridiculous in a lot of ways. There are guys now that are getting approached by women, and the guys are going, sorry, sweetheart, I'm gay. And they're not gay, but they're just like, I know where this is going to go. I don't want this to go where it could possibly go. And it's like, okay, you for years, women were going, I'm a lesbian or I'm married. And now guys are doing the same thing to kind of turn women away without trying to be mean or nasty. And it's just like, the tables are turning, because a lot of women are also going, why don't men approach women anymore? And it's like, you really have to ask us that? You guys should know the answer to that question already, but apparently not. So
yeah, man, that's I think that's the best way to handle it too. Maybe not necessarily, I wouldn't go with, obviously I'm not dating anymore because I have the Duchess, but that's probably the way I would go about it too if I had that situation happen to me, where it's just, and I advise all guys in the chat to do the same, where it's just, if some chick acts like that to you, just act like it, just you have to zing her back and then walk away, like get that last word in. You gotta, me personally, I probably would have been like, who the fuck are you, who are you, and then just got my drink and walked away. But yeah, you got to get that zinger in there, and that's the best way we're going to handle it going forward, because then it's just going to be like, women are just going to start seeing that they again, there's consequences for their actions in whatever little way we can give it to them. So with that, let's get into this video here. So again, this is Lungs of Faith, good guy, so far as I can tell, Orthodox dude, but he talks a lot about, if you look at his other stuff, I can show you here, he's been doing a lot of male women dynamic stuff recently, but he also has some stuff on like how our culture has developed into where we're at now, like reflections on time periods and stuff like that. As you can see here, biggest lie, like a lot of stuff we're talking about today, he goes in depth on why it is the way it is. So with that, let's go back to the video we were gonna watch. Let's see here.
For teenage girls and young women.
But like said memes and stuff,
A woman talks about her best friend with more emotional intensity than most.
She
There
got
we
an
go.
abortion after the show. I was like, yes, I killed the performance, and then you killed it after the performance. Sorry, that's funny.
In order for a civilization to survive, you need two things. First, the birth rate needs to be somewhere around 2.1 children per woman.
True,
It's not
Elucidator,
even
true.
close. In countries like America, Canada, Poland, Germany, and the Czech Republic, the numbers are at critical levels. Second, to raise that birth rate, men need to actually be attracted to the women. They're not. But why is this happening? Just look at the top 3 podcasts young people are listening to. For young men, it's Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, and Diary of a CEO. Self-improvement, comedy, discipline, health, money, and education.
That is something I do want to talk about really quick, and also just because I don't want to just steal this guy's video, we have to give a little commentary on it, obviously.
Oh yeah.
That, as you can see, yeah, the top podcasts and even what I'm listening to, watching, I don't know about Kai, but what I'm listening to, watching, aside from maybe some gameplay and stuff like that, is usually self-improvement or politics or religious like videos, podcasts, stuff like that, or I'm watching stuff on how to improve my streaming and my content. So it's, as you can see, there's this big thing with guys that's never changed, which is that guys are still interested in self-improvement and being better men, and not just sitting around. But as we'll see in a second, with women, it's a little bit different. Can you confirm that, Kai, that even in the stuff that you've been going through, that's still kind of something that's at least appealing to you?
Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean, I've never watched any of Theo Vaughn's stuff, but I have seen some episodes of Diary of a CEO and, of course, Joe Rogan. But for me, those kind of podcasts, it all depends on who they're talking to, who their guest is. And that's pretty much how I am with a lot of podcasts and live streams. It all depends on who the guests are or what the subject is, for me personally. But for the most part, like I'll not necessarily self-improvement, but I'll often read autobiographies by people that were considered great men, the great men of the past century or whatever, and see the stuff that they did and kind of get inspired and fired up by some of the stuff they did. And I'm just like, yeah, that'll be cool to do. I gotta do that, or something similar to that kind of thing. So I'm kind of in a different vein, but it's just the same family tree, but a branch that's a little bit off to the side, a little bit more of an obscure branch, if you will, but it's mostly the same kind of road.
So that's similar for me too. It's like, again, like you said, depends on I've seen some Joe Rogan. I don't think I've seen Theo Vaughn a full episode, but I have watched some clips. And it does depend on the subject matter, but even still, like you said, I'm always looking at stuff like history, like learning and stuff like that. And I know those are more masculine interests anyways. Women have their own interests, and I don't blame them for it. I want them to be women, obviously, but it's just, again, what we'll see in just a second here when I start the video is that it seems that women are into a lot more toxic femininity pushing entertainment and stuff like that. And obviously, for obvious reasons, that's what makes the money. That's what drives the power into the politicians more and stuff like that. Because again, if the women make up a majority, I believe, of the no, men do, but only very little. But women make up more of a majority as spenders and people who are outspoken on subjects and stuff like that. So it's like, it's more in politicians and CEOs' best interest to keep women happy, especially with the way we are in society right now. But let's see what the women are watching.
Meanwhile, for young women, it's Call Her Daddy, Giggly Squad, and Anything Goes, Murder Mysteries, or I'm a Gigantic Whore. The dark truth is that men and women are being formed in incompatible ways, and when we take a closer look at the media women are consuming and who's bankrolling it, it starts to make a bit more sense.
Looking like a baddie, I show up and make them stop.
Now, something we probably all noticed. Why is there suddenly this explosion of female BFF culture? The girl's girl ideology. The best friend who is basically treated like a spouse. details: the girl's trip to Europe, the matching outfits, the expensive gifts, the soulmate language, the posts where a woman talks about her best friend with more emotional intensity than most people talk about marriage.
Can you tell who wears the pants in our relationship?
We both wear the pants.
But it turns out that there's a term that helps describe this phenomenon. I meant female homosocial replacement. The anti-wife pipeline. The truth.
So he's going to get into it, but I think to try and like boil down what he means by this is just a lot more women are not actually lesbian, obviously, but like they're more close to their female friends than even like what they would be with a spouse, because a female friend is safe. They don't have to offer them sex, obviously, like they would with a man if they're going to be in a romantic relationship. And also, most of their female friends aren't going to let men in manly friendships will hold their friends accountable if they're true friends. They'll try and get their friends to do better. They'll challenge their friends. They'll try and be like competitive with their friends for the most part. Women, it's the complete opposite. It's like they, at least in current times, they're very much more like, we want to be safe. You don't want to rock the boat. You want to be in the friend group. And most of these women will gas you up, as we've seen in a lot of videos where you have that, the fridge guarding the snacks type of person, but all her friends are saying like, oh no, you're a 10, you know, you're beautiful. Any guy would be lucky to have you. And it's like, if it was a guy, it's that whole meme where it's like, bro, I know 3 fat people and you're 2 of them. So
yeah, it's I think the thing that always kind of
hello, Mr. J, by the way,
bemuses me about this whole thing is some of my female friends that I game with, and some of my exes have all been very much, I have more male friends than female ones because there's less drama with dudes. And I can kind of see that to a point, because I know, pardon me, some women who will dish out the tea of their supposed best friends' lives, like their BFF, their girl best friend, you know, without any kind of, oh, hang on, I shouldn't share this information because it's about her relationship with her boyfriend. They'll just tell you indiscriminately stuff you don't really want to know. And they should not be telling other people. And it's like, why do that? Why have all these friendships if you're not going to take it seriously? So this whole kind of girl BFF, homosocial relationship thing, it does bemuse me and confuse me, because I've seen 2 sides of that coin with my own eyes firsthand, and it's a very, very fucked up thing. Like I said, I don't understand it. I understand why some women prefer to have a lot of male friends or more male friends than they do women, because there is a lot less drama. But at the same time, I do think it can be a bit unhealthy if your friendships are more based more on the gender of the friend, or if you have more friends of the opposite gender. I do think that it does create some kind of social imbalance, and I do think it's unhealthy. Like, I do have friends that are women, and they will call me out on my bullshit, much like Dutch. You've called me out on some shit privately, and some of my female friends have done the same, and their boyfriends who I'm friends with, or husbands who I'm friends with, have also done the same. So there are good women out there, but it's this whole BFF thing. It's a very strange, 2-sided, schizophrenic, split personality kind of thing, and it's not right, just based on my experiences and what I've seen.
Yeah, and I will, my 2 cents on the whole male friend thing. It's like, I can see what they mean to an extent, because obviously I see how women treat each other. or I've seen how a lot of women treat each other, I should say. I think back in the day, obviously, it was a little bit more healthy, but I think women were also less around necessarily a bunch of random women that they made friends with, and more around family members who actually gave a shit about them, obviously. As opposed to this new era of women, I feel like it's a lot more them trying to get ahead, so they'll step on. It's the same as, like, I think I know Bigot Barry will understand this one. It's like the VTuber, the female VTuber drama that always comes up every few months. I hear about it, and it's usually not even that serious, but they make it this big thing, and it's usually a bunch of catty women stabbing each other in the back to try and, like, climb the ladder, you know what I mean, to, like, gain some attention, social points, blah blah blah. Like the whole Cinder thing. So I get it. I get wanting to have more male friends, because male friends, yes, I agree, are generally less drama. But my issue with that, and a reason why I personally think that, generally speaking, unless you're both married and or maybe a professional, maybe, but this is a big maybe, professional relationship, generally speaking, men and women cannot have platonic relationships after they have gone through puberty. And I think women having a bunch of male friends is a red flag, in my personal opinion, because I'm like, even if you don't want to smash or be in a romantic relationship with any of those guys, I guarantee you the majority of them want that with you, and are just waiting for the chance to where the woman goes, oh yeah, do you want to maybe try this out? You know, we've been friends for so long, you're so nice to me, blah blah blah. A bunch of male orbiters. And a lot of the time I've seen recently women, not all of them, again, not all, you know, you always got to say not all, this is a generalization, but a lot of women doing that whole, well, I don't get along with women, so I'm going to have a bunch of male friends. They also do that on purpose, just in case they get into a situation where they're not dating someone, or they've gone through all their bad boy phase, and they know they're going to have at least a couple of guys, like good guys, nice guys, whatever you want to call them, on the hook.
Yeah, they got backups.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my issue with the whole having a lot of more male friend group kind of thing. And I will say it's not completely where a woman can't be friends with a dude and just be platonic friends. Like, obviously Nyanus and Gundo are friends. Her and I are pals, but also that's different because, again, one, I thought she was a dude when I first met her, and two, she has husbanus, and it's more of like I'm married and she's married, so it's a different dynamic, I would say. Not to mention I treat her more like almost a friend boss type situation, even though it's not, she doesn't see it that way, but I do. Real talk. So, but yeah, I don't personally, if you're a single dude and a single woman, I find it very hard to believe that you guys can be purely platonic. Maybe the woman can, but the guy is, especially if he's a young dude hasn't really had a lot of success with women, it's like, sorry lady, if you called that dude right now and you said, hey, do you want to go out on a date or come over and smash, he's 9 times out of 10 gonna be like, yes, I want to do that right now.
Yeah, I would agree with you to an extent there. I mean, there's this thing I saw on the internet once, and it was one of those quote thing pictures you see on social media that do the rounds, and it was, a man can only be platonic friends or have a platonic relationship with a woman if he finds her unattractive.
Yes.
And I do believe that is the case, because my female friends, Shaggins as well, because we have a lot of the same friends. They're women that we do not find attractive in any way. One friend of ours, who's married, Christian, lovely lady. We met in college, and she said to us, we were just hanging out in the library one day at college, and she's just like, I like you too. You're going to be like my little brothers in the future, I feel like. And it's kind of true. We kind of did become kind of like brothers to her, and she's like a sister to us, you know? physically, there was absolutely nothing there at all from my part or Shagan's, and it's just completely platonic. And like I said, there are people out there that have found her attractive over the years. You know, she's had boyfriends, you know, she's married now and all that kind of stuff. And he's a really good guy. And she's, you know, she was unhappy for a long time in relationships, and she's got her husband now, and he makes her really happy. And he's a good guy. Me and Shaggins, of course, we vetted the dude. We took him out and we quizzed him, you know, of course, because this is like, yeah, we've been friends with this woman for, you know, nearly over a decade at that point. And so yeah, we kind of did the brothers thing of just like, yeah, we're gonna make sure you're okay. We're gonna make sure that you're right for her, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, you know, so it can happen. A dude can be friends with a woman strictly platonic, but she has to be someone that he does not find attractive in any way. That's a harsh reality of it, but that is the way it is, I think. With women, I don't think it's the same way. I think women are friends with dudes most of the time because they're just like, what can this dude offer me at any point? Is this dude gonna show up if I call him and need help in any kind of way? And I know a woman who is very much like that. I'm not friends of her anymore, but she had 3 or 4 guys that she could call up who drove, and it's just like she would call them up like, hey, I'm stuck at the supermarket. I got all this shopping. I can't get home on the bus. I can't walk home. Can you come pick me up? And of course, the guy wanted to smash her, so he would hop in his car, drive halfway across the county to do that for her, all in the hopes that it would get her into bed. You know, but women know that about a lot of guys. And if they feel that a guy's into them, they will use that to their advantage any chance they get, even if they have no intention of actually banging the dude or having a relationship with him that's beyond platonic. I'm not saying that all women are like that, but there's a lot of women in my generation that definitely are.
Yeah, and well, I think that's the big thing with, again, the whole women can have platonic relationships with dudes is that it's beneficial for women, right? They basically can get a boyfriend treatment without having to do the girlfriend responsibilities of, well, I would say wife responsibilities of, you know, cooking, cleaning, having sex, all that. The main thing for them is that they don't have to have sex with a guy or be committed to do anything relational with the dude. They can just go out and have fun, and if they need protection or, you know, help out in a situation, they always have that guy to rely on, like you said, like a big brother or like just a boyfriend, but without any of the physical not responsibilities, but any of the physical expectations, they feel like. But yeah, I think that's really cruel to the guy. I blame the guy for putting himself in that situation, obviously. Like I am not going to take all the responsibility away from the guy, because if you're a orbiter around a girl expecting her to eventually be with you because you're such a good guy, sorry to tell you, bud, it's not happening. And if it did, it's not going to be in the way that you want to, because she will have already, it's going to be like a Forrest Gump situation where Julie, I'm getting him mixed up with Chris Chan. What was the chick's name in Forrest Gump?
Oh, I've not watched Forrest Gump for years.
Well, whatever. The Jenny, that's what it was. The Jenny girl had already been passed around in the 60s and gotten a horrible disease, and then she finally got with Forrest once she had a horrible disease from having copious amounts of sex with random dudes and doing a bunch of drugs and shit like that. So sorry guys, if you're a nice guy orbiter, that's what's gonna happen. You get the leftovers after. So I think you're lucky.
A lot of guys, especially of my generation, they they kind of get enamored and kind of blown away when they sort of like a woman they find attractive pays them any kind of attention, and they kind of forget that maybe, you know, you should look in the mirror, dude, and take a long hard look at yourself, because a lot of guys that do this kind of thing that end up in these situations, they're not exactly your Chads of the world, you know. They're not exactly your Brad Pitts or your Timothy Chalamets or whatever, you know. They're not necessarily ugly, but they're not in that stereotypical good-looking category. And it's just like, if you could acknowledge that about yourself, you might wake up to the realization of what's happening here with this friendship, that it's not going to go the way that you hope it will.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys, a lot of guys don't like to put themselves down. They don't like to feel down about themselves, and they kind of put on the rose-tinted glasses and romanticize everything. Yeah, I think if a lot of guys could be a little bit more detached from that side of things, I think they'd fare a lot better, especially if like my generation.
Yeah, and I can admit I was there too, and that's again why I had to have that whole conversation with God and myself, where I accepted that whole, you know, the I could be alone for the rest of my life thing, because that was one of the things holding me back onto putting women on a pedestal and doing those kind of things where I would possibly be friends with a woman who was never going to give me what I was hoping for. So I just had to be honest with the women I was dating after my ex and be like, look, because some of them, you know, you'd go out on a couple dates and then they'd be like, oh, well, I'm not really feeling anything, but we could still be friends if you want. Or I had one time where I was talking to her on a dating app, and I was like, oh, do you want to go out sometime? And she was like, oh, well, I'm kind of talking to this other guy right now, but if it doesn't work out with him, then maybe we can go out. And I was like, bro, I'm nobody's second choice. And before, I may have let that slide and been like, you know, like, oh, okay, you know, I'll wait for a little bit. But at that point in my life, after I had that discussion with myself, I was like, hell no, I'm nobody's second choice. I'm not gonna wait around while you date some other guy and maybe maybe you decide, oh, I don't like it. I'm not gonna be a little, you know, I'm not gonna be the second choice that the beta orbiter nice guy. All right. And I don't really care. Like, obviously that woman never talked to me again, but I was like, hell no, like you can kick rocks, forget that.
Yeah, I mean, I've not really talked about this publicly, but you know, my last situation with a woman, which was fairly recently, a couple months back, or about a month or so back, really, that whole situation went the way it did, and I was like, okay, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. You're not coming back. There's going to be no way for you to come back into my life if that doesn't work out. So I just blocked her on everything. So there's that door is closed. Yeah, I had my little crash out. I know why I had that crash out now, but ultimately, yeah, like, that door is kind of closed. I've kind of just got to a point where I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna harden my heart, but I'm gonna be more guarded with it, if that makes sense.
Good.
And close the door on women that aren't gonna be like, yeah, this is the guy I want. This is my one and only choice in that regard. If that's not what they're gonna do, then see you later, sweet cheeks. The door is closed. I think that's the way guys have got to be, but a lot of guys don't want to be like that because they have the hope that things will work out with the super hot chick that, you know, they've been talking to for years. It's just like, guys, a lot of the times, probably not. I hate to say it, but it's probably not.
Yeah. And it's also a thing of, and we could admit, I think you can admit this too, but I mean, guys really don't want to be mean. Like, we're not, to me personally, it's like, I don't want to be mean. It's even if God blesses me with some kids, like, I understand I have to discipline them. I understand that it's like, it will be necessary for me to be the bad guy, because the woman, generally speaking, isn't going to be the disciplinarian or isn't going to be as much of a disciplinarian. And as we can see with the single mother rates and them raising men, the majority of men raised by single mothers end up in prison, and women, single mothers, from what I understand statistically, can be even more physically abusive than a father or a single father, because men understand that even though we have to be the mean disciplinarians, we understand that we also have to control our strength, control our anger for the most part, because we see when we don't, obviously that's when you get abusive men who do real damage. But the women, on the other hand, again, haven't been held as accountable, so they kind of, even though they're not as strong as dudes, but when they're up against little kids, it's obviously like, you know, they can hurt them. And even if they're up against dudes who feel like they can't fight back, I've seen videos of women, you know, throwing plates, throwing stuff that can really hurt a guy. Or like we saw in Yanis's video earlier of the cop cam, a woman who thinks she's fine to get away with saying that her husband is a child sexual predator in front of her kid to try and get more custody of her kid, and probably get more child support and stuff like that. I would assume that's why she was doing that, and just because she was probably angry and vindictive against the husband. Luckily he was recording all that stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to disciplining children, like men, there's that whole thing of men are more logical and women are more emotional. And I think a lot of men are subconsciously aware that there is a fine line between discipline and abuse. And I think a lot of women, single mothers who, not all, I would say that there is a majority of single mothers are not like this, but there are definitely a subset that are, who they let their emotions get the better of them when it comes to disciplining their children, which ultimately leads to a generation of damaged men, or a large section of a generation of damaged men who go on to commit the kind of crimes we see a lot of young men do, not necessarily violent crime, but they'll end up in, you know, car crime, grand theft auto, joyriding, that kind of thing. Because that's where a lot of dudes actually end up. We hear the major headlines that are like, oh, this man went and committed this stabbing or this shooting. But that's because it's so horrific. But, you know, the grand theft auto that happens on Washington and Cherry that's committed by a 21-year-old, you know, that's not going to make the news. It's not going to make national or international headlines. And that's where a lot of crime by dudes actually takes place. It's in those kind of crimes. It's just the big scary ones like shootings and stabbings that we hear about.
yeah. And then let's go to chat really quick here. I know we've been ignoring you because we've been deep in this serious conversation, but let's see here. Mr. J said it's always catty women. Bigot Barry said VTuber women cannot stay out of drama. Well, I would argue, Bigot Barry, that's partially because they make money off of the drama. Bigot Barry, from Cinder to the VTards, they just can't get along. One of the VTards was a dude. Is a dude, whatever. Red Miku, Hitler Miku. I don't know if I can say that name, but sorry YouTube, but that's what it is. Yeah. Red Miku was a dude, I think, is a dude. Still uses the model, but I think maybe I think he went back to the voice changer, actually, because people will still watch him even though they know it's a dude with the voice changer and the model. Yanis has dude brain, that's why I like her, said Donnie Womack. I kind of agree. The base tomboy, and also that, again, she's so open about being married to Husbanus and how much she is madly in love with Husbanus makes me more comfortable, again, because it's like I want to honor the Duchess, and generally speaking, we don't have friends of the opposite sex unless they are mutual friends with each other and or married, generally speaking, or in a relationship. So we know, like, obviously they're attracted to their partner, they're not really attracted to, statistically it's a much less big issue in that regard. But generally speaking, we don't have friends who are single women or for me, or single men for her, that we talk to without each other and stuff like that. And that's why I appreciate that from Nanus and Husbanus, because it's more like it's like a couple friend that I would be friends with. And then also that if you guys were ever wondering, that's the same reason why I don't really follow any other female VTubers or females in general on Twitter or anything like that, or watch any female VTubers, because it's I'm just not really interested in females opinions, to be honest. As misogynistic as that sounds, I don't really care. Everything I would learn from a woman, generally speaking, I can learn better from a man. And two, it's a respect thing for the Duchess, because it's like I love her, and I don't want to be looking at talking to whatever women for the most part online, because she's not there, and I don't want her to feel disrespected, even if I'm not saying anything sexual, romantic, whatever to these people. Same reason why if I was in any other collab with a female VTuber, I would probably require that there be another male present. So like Celestium is trying to do some collabs right now for Men's Mental Health Month, and if she has me on, I'm probably going to request, be like, hey, just out of respect for my wife, if you want to bring your husband on or bring another male VTuber on, I would really appreciate it, so that it's not just us two, even though it's on a public forum or whatever. It's just it's more a respect thing for me and the Duchess. So,
well, dude, I mean, if she's looking for mental health collabs, I think it's an open secret at this point in our circles about my mental health. So, you could always drag me along if you need that requirement.
I will. I'll send you the link to the Discord, because that's where she's doing all that, deciding all that stuff. So, but the let's see here. Elucidator said I would kill in Minecraft to be a fly on the wall for Shagan's BF vetting session, and he would have popcorn. What do you got to say about that, our good friend Elucidator?
Well, I mean, Shagan's is a wild one, and yeah, when it comes to like vetting other people, he's really good at it. But when it comes to vetting women for himself, like myself, we're absolute dog shit at it. We kind of, as Shaggins once said to me about my last serious relationship that broke down. He said to me, why didn't you see the red flags, dude? And I was like, I don't know. And then he looked at me and he went, I do. It's because you thought it was a carnival. You sappy fuck. And it's true. I kind of looked at it and I was like, yeah, you're kind of right. Shackins, he's brutal. He will be brutal. He can be nice and polite, of course, being full-on British, but he can be quite brutal when he wants to be, and it's always fun to watch. So, yeah, Elucidator, fly on the wall, you would definitely you'd be having that popcorn out, and you'd be laughing your ass off probably too. So I agree with that, definitely.
Let's see here. Lucidator, you're right, Dutch. A big lesson guys have to learn is that if you want a girl to see you as a BF, you have to be upfront about that intention. You can't play the whole friend into BF game. That's friend zone. Agree. And just a really quick note on that is that yeah, you just got to be, basically you got to be upfront after you get through the small talk with a chick. Just be like, basically, again, what I told the Duchess when we first got together is, because they always try and bring that up and be like, they're like, oh, you're really nice, we should be friends, blah blah blah. And it's back when I was in the dating thing, it's always that, and I still tell her to this day, because sometimes she'll mess with me and say and call me buddy or something like that, and I'm like, I ain't your buddy. We're not gonna be friends. No. There's only one way this goes, and if it doesn't go that way, I'm out of here. So yes, I agree completely. 2 from Elucidator, obviously don't be overly aggressive douche. Men can be a little bit more douchey, I'm gonna be honest. A lot more men can be a little bit more douchey when telling your intention for dating, but don't be a pansy and hide your feelings. Agree. And then Donnie, speaking from the experience of a man who used to beat my ass with his fist, I can tell you the idea of disciplining a child is genuinely something I would not willingly want to do, but I have to. Yes, that is what I was trying to bring up, is that I think for men, and women don't see this, is that we have, whether people want to agree with it or not, it's like, no, there is a standard for men, and there's a reason why good men in like movies and stuff like that back in the day were always seen as these like strong, disciplined, courageous guys who had a plan, who were going out there facing the world, being in competition, all that kind of stuff. And it's because that's part of what a man is. Obviously there's more to a man, but that is part of what a man is and what men should be showing to the world, in my opinion. And part of that is the whole controlled discipline thing. Now, beating your ass, I don't know, with like punching you or whatever, I don't believe in that, but there does need to be some form of physical discipline. It just has to be controlled. Like, a man shouldn't be going around beating up people, obviously, just for no reason. That's real toxic masculinity. But a man being able to criticize something or say no, or with his kids be able to discipline them, even, I would say, to the point of physicality, but not like a controlled physicality, like for example, like spanking. Like for me, it was the wooden spoon. If I did something wrong 3 times, I got my ass hit with the wooden spoon. And so I knew not to do things, because I was like, you have that healthy fear that there's going to be consequences for your actions. And that men need to do that. Men need to be the one dishing that out, because again, women, it seems like the majority of women either don't dish it out at all, like they'll just let people get away, as we see with them being the ones generally speaking. And I'm gonna let the video play just a little bit, because I want to get off this freaking picture.
Men romantically or economically. They're increasingly getting their emotional
the men have to be the ones to do it, because women seem to overwhelmingly be either too empathetic and not wanting to discipline people, as we see with all the people getting let out early or on lower bonds in courtrooms, which is mostly women doing it, for these people who have had like 75 counts of arrests and stuff like that. Or they they go overboard with the discipline, and like will, for example, with a lot, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of single moms, like overly disciplining their kids emotionally, physically hurting them. And obviously men can do that too, but I feel like men, when they do that, they're held more accountable, and they are seen as worse. Whereas with women, it is much more brushed under the rug. And even if a woman gets found out for that, it is a lot more rare that she gets any actual accountability for it, you know?
I think, see, for me, I'm kind of on the fence about physical discipline when it comes to kids, but some kind of discipline does need to be done. But like a lot of parenting now, it's like, oh, if you misbehave, you're gonna go sit in the corner, or you're gonna sit on the naughty step. And when you're a kid, and I remember kind of thinking this at the time when I was a kid, like, really, the naughty step? So if I swear or push some other kid over on the playground, I'm just gonna have to sit on the naughty step for half hour when we get home. That's it. Like, that's nothing, you know. I could just go and do it again, because all I gotta do is then sit on the naughty step for half hour, and then that's it. I can just go and do it again. There's no serious emphasis on what I've done, if you will. So it's just like, yeah, you need to there needs to be something more than this wrapped in cotton wool discipline that a lot of parents are doing now. Before we move on, quick funny story about disciplining, and this is one from me. Back when I was about 4 or 5, so this was back home in the States, I said the word cunt in front of my mom and dad. And my mom does not like that word. She finds it to be a really, really dirty word. And my dad, being British, said, you say that word again, I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap. and you'll never say it again because that's a dirty word. So you need to have it washed out with soap. And I just kind of went, yeah, okay, Dad, you know, whatever. And I wander off into the kitchen, and about half an hour later, I hear my dad in the living room go to my mom, Kai's awfully quiet, what's going on? Wanders out into the kitchen and finds me sitting on the dining room table, chewing on a bar of soap, crying my eyes out. And he starts laughing. He's like, what are you doing? I said, you said that you're going to wash my mouth with soap, and I wanted to see what it tastes like, just to see if it was going to be nasty. I'm never going to swear again. And I did not swear in front of my parents for about 10 years after that. So I was about 14, 15 before I swore in front of my parents again. So I kind of mission successful, failed successfully kind of thing in a weird kind of way. Yeah, but I thought that was a funny story to share. So,
all right, and then true Donnie. Yes, I agree with that last statement. Let's keep going here.
Political instincts and identity formation from other women.
If you have some friends that are prudes that are like, you should never kiss on the first date, you're gonna give them the wrong impression, and they're just gonna think you're a whore. Okay, maybe for you, Cassandra, but I'm about to let him in my back door all night.
But let's rewind.
Disgusting. And that's another thing is I feel like a lot of women are getting gaslit by these, like, they see a lot of celebrities and stuff like that that are now the pinnacle of what women aim to be, whether that be this chick on the Call Her Daddy podcast, disgusting, or chicks like what is it, Sabrina Carpenter, and who's the one who's always dating dudes and then writing songs when they have breakups? What's that chick's name again?
Taylor Swift.
And Taylor Swift, yeah. So they're looking at all these women doing this stuff, and they're emulating them, but they're not really getting. They don't understand. It's not like men who have learned the lesson after being browbeaten by women for so long that's why men are stepping away from the dating scene. It's women seem to have not learned the lesson that and the beatings continue, so to speak. I'm not saying they're actually getting beaten. It's a saying, right? The beatings will continue till morale improves. The women are not learning the lesson, so which is that if they become sluts, for lack of a better word, if they just give it out to anybody they find attractive or who they want to at the time, they don't seem to understand that they are lowering their value to most men, and then they try and shame us into liking them, and the men go, there's no amount of shaming you could do to get a good man to like you after the stuff you've done. And if they lie, it eventually gets brought out, and then the men go, well, I'm out of here. So that's the other issue, is that the women are emulating these women, the popular women, but then not learning the lesson that these popular women are miserable hags and not getting good men, and that it's like it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think Gundo often says this thing, and it's women don't grow up, they grow old. And I think he's right in a lot of cases. I do think he's genuinely right in a lot of cases. I mean, another thing with single moms I've noticed is they find a guy they like, they'll introduce him to her kids or her kid really early on in the relationship, sometimes within the first couple weeks. Now, if I was a single dad and I decided to hit the dating scene again, I would not be introducing my kids to my new girlfriend for at least 8 months. And then even that would be a gradual thing. It'll be like an afternoon kind of thing, like, okay, 8 months, it's been consistent, she seems like a good person enough, she can come hang out with me and the kids for an afternoon and just see where it goes. And then it would go from there. But I would not be bringing that person around to my apartment or my house where my kids are for a good 8-9 months. And I think a lot of women, they kind of speed run that, and they don't take the time to think about what that does to a kid. And I think that's another reason why a lot of women get hurt in the end too, especially single moms, is they bring a guy into the situation. The guy thinks he can handle it, and he actually can't, because a lot of guys, they think they can handle being quote unquote dad or a father figure to kids that aren't theirs, and a lot of them can't actually handle it, which is why they ultimately leave.
Yeah, I agree, and that's even for me. I obviously I'm not a single parent, and neither was the Duchess. But even for me, after my big X, I was still living with my parents, and I saw how it affected them. Even just me dating my big X, and then that whole fallout. Like people don't realize that actually a lot of your actions affect everyone around you. Like people, the whole libertarian idea of like, oh well, let everybody do whatever they want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody directly. I feel like a lot of people don't understand that actually a lot of your actions that you think only hurt you actually do hurt people around you, and then in turn on a greater scale over time. It's that whole thing that I talked about with you again, Kai, coming up, that those little bricks add up in society to hurting society as a whole. So but to bring that up, circle back, even with the Duchess, because of my experience with my big X, I hadn't brought home any of the women that I had been dating, whether it was casual or starting to get more serious. I hadn't brought them home to meet my parents because it just never felt like I didn't want to get, unless it was going to be super serious, like a really long-term relationship that could turn into marriage. I didn't want to bring home another woman that my parents had to get used to, and then be like, them get invested in the woman and be like, oh yeah, she's a nice girl, blah blah blah, like it's cool that you're bringing her around, we're glad you're dating people, or bringing her to like family events and stuff like that, because I knew how my big X breakup affected my parents even. So that's why even for the Duchess, it took us about 2 years to get serious, and then I think it still took a few months before I actually even introduced her to my parents. So
yeah, the domino effect that it has, that things like that have in your life, are ridiculous. You know, I mean, we both know an individual who dated a single mom, and he got attached to the kids, and because there was no dad in the picture, and we know how that ended and how that really fucked him up in a lot of different ways. And it's like it damages the guy, it damages the mom, it damages the kids, and it damages everyone else involved in that orbit of both parties. So it's you've really got to, if you're a single parent, whether you're a single mom or a single dad, and you're out there dating again, don't introduce anyone to your kids for at least, I would say, 8 months minimum, but I mean, it's entirely up to you, because ultimately the person you have to protect most is your kid or kids, and then yourself. If you introduce that person too early, too soon, whatever, and attachments form, and then 8 months, 9 months, a year down the line, it all ends, you're hurt, the kids are hurt, and you have to, as the parent, you've got to make sure the kids are okay. You've got to get the kids through that if they're old enough to understand what's going on. And you've got to get yourself through it too. And that's going to be, I mean, I've never been through that on that side of it, so I can't really say, but it's going to be, it must be tough to sail your own ship through rough seas and guide your kids through it too, because it's a dual thing, so it must be difficult.
yeah, and that's having the stability for the kids is what I would say is the most important. It's stability for children is obviously children, especially male children, should probably go through some hardship, just because it develops you into a person who can handle that when you get to be an adult. But especially young children need that stability and safety. And if a single parent of any kind, but I would say it's usually more the moms, in this day and age. A single parent of any kind is just bringing a new person around every couple months, few months, whatever. That's really no stability for the kid, and I don't think that's it doesn't help them in the long run, obviously, especially if they're getting attached to so many different people, and they might not even have their real other parent in the picture. So it's like they just see abandonment constantly, or what they perceive as abandonment, even if it's not a choice of the person who's coming in. You know what I mean?
Exactly, because they're kids. They're not. I don't want to sound like I'm talking down to kids, but a lot of kids aren't really aware of adult relationship dynamics.
Yeah.
And how complicated they are. They just see, oh, there's a new, especially if they've got no other parent in the picture, so single mom, for argument's sake. Oh, okay. This guy's dad, because my actual dad isn't here. 8 months down the line, okay, dad's abandoned me. Okay, 3 months later, new guy comes in. Oh, new dad, great. 6 months down the line, he abandons me. So you end up with a bunch of kids and a whole generation, or a large swath of a generation, that have abandonment issues, which ultimately leads to other mental health problems and other issues that cause them to have difficult times forming relationships and maintaining relationships as adults.
Yep. All right, let's see what else we got here.
For most of history, a woman's life had a pretty clear
please get
direction,
Kamala off the
focused
screen.
on their
I know.
internal instincts.
That is better
You
than
grow
the
up,
other thing.
You mature, you get married, build a home, have children, become a mother, sacrifice yourself for something bigger than yourself. But now that path has been replaced with a new one. The husband gets replaced by the friend group. The home gets replaced by a girls' trip. The family gets replaced by brunch, Europe, therapy language, astrology, and self-discovery. Then by the time she says she wants marriage, men are no longer interested. Here's the data. It's a fact that women on average are now outpacing men in higher education. NCES reports that in fall 2021, women made up almost 60% of undergraduate enrollment, while men made up barely 40%. Pew reported that among Americans aged 25 to 34, 47% of women have a bachelor's degree or higher, compared with 37% of men. Okay, well, what's the problem? The problem is that those same women who are educated are no longer interested in men who aren't educated. And if more women are educated and less men are educated, you can see the problem. There's a seemingly linear correlation to a woman's education and what she expects from men. Now here's where it gets interesting, because I'm about to expose to you the contradiction that nobody wants to talk about. AEI points out that 45% of college-educated single women say they're single largely because they can't find someone who meets their expectations. When you survey unmarried adults who actually desire marriage, the biggest reason they're still single isn't the economy. It's not divorce statistics. It's brutally simple. It's hard to find the right person to marry. That's 58%, the number one answer. But what are those expectations? Pew Research doubles down and shows the modern young female priority stack has shifted. 2/3 of all women 18 to 34 rate career as a major life priority, up from 56% in the late 90s, and basically zero before then. That's not a manosphere talking point. That's women saying that they can get their fix elsewhere, perhaps from friends, career, travel, and other women. And men are looking at this same equation and are seeing horrifying statistics. Among women ages 20 to 24, a large majority have
I just
want
want to get through these statistics.
Sexual partners.
They're important.
8.8% reported 2 to 4, 23% reported 5 to 9, 8.6% reported 10 to 14, and almost 1% reported 40 sexual partners by the time they're 20 to 24. But the consequences are practical.
Okay, so we don't have a ton of time left, but I would like to at least speak on that and then move on to a little something else. I would highly recommend you guys watch this video and this guy's other videos. I'm hoping to make more stuff like this, similar to what he's making, where I go in depth on pre-recorded videos that are edited. Anyways, pre-recorded videos that are edited nicely as I can with the limited amount of time that I have, but that go in deep on these, because if I'm being honest with you guys, I'm streaming because it's easy for the time that I have, that I can just set something up and talk to you guys or play games or something like that. It's a lot more easy and quick, and I think more people are watching streams right now. But my personal preference of content is I actually prefer watching the pre-recorded content like what Gundo does, like actual videos. Like I like YouTube videos. I was never really into streams until I started streaming. So that's what I kind of want to make too. And I think there's a little bit more value in pre-recorded videos with editing like that, because people can take in the information. It's just unfortunately not as popular and doesn't make as much money, and you kind of have to stream to make money now. So, but that being said, I do enjoy it and talking to you guys live, but I hope to make more stuff like what he's making, what Lungs of Faith here is making. So if you guys are interested in that, please tell me in the comments on this video after it's a VOD, or if I post something on the page or in the Twitter. Just let me know if that's something you guys are interested in, is watching actual full videos, and I'll try and work something out where I can at least get something out. It might not be as edited as what Lungs of Faith does, because he gets people who pay for him to do this as a job type of deal. But I will try and put it out there, because my whole page is obviously about helping y'all and doing it in a similar way. But unlike him, he seems to do mostly serious stuff. I would probably put a more I would try to put a more comedic spin on it, similar to Gundo and stuff like that. But anyways, so you guys saw all those statistics, and the two that really stuck out to me were the college education and the sex statistics, obviously the sexual partners. Men's sexual partners before a certain age has definitely gone down. I know he didn't show that, but it has definitely gone down. The majority of men are having far less sex nowadays. I'm not going to pull it up. I'm not going to go look that up, but you guys are going to just have to take my word for it that it has. And I think from your guys' personal experiences, you guys can probably agree with me on that. But the college education, yes, it's been pushed more to women to get a college education, go into the workforce, and they're trying to find meaning in that, in working for a business and a boss who treat them as a number. For some reason, that's been the thing that's like, women are like, oh yeah, let's go do that. And it's like, bro, men don't even want to do that. We do that because, again, it's our responsibility. We have to, and we're better at it in general. But a lot of men, I know what Kai would say about this. A lot of men would be perfectly fine if they had basically like a sugar mama situation, and they were the ones at home taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, all that kind of stuff. But women are going more into the workforce, getting these degrees, all that stuff. They're also, I mean, it's also easier for them to get into college, obviously, because if you're a woman, or if you're a woman and you're a minority race or anything like that, there's way more grants and scholarships and ways in, as opposed to men, and especially white and Asian men. It's a lot more difficult to get into college nowadays, as well as, like Kai was saying before, men just not seeing it being worth it. Like, why am I going to do all this work and the thing that I was promised after all this work isn't there anymore? So a lot of men are just dropping out of that part of it. And then onto the sexual partners part of it, again, women are expecting that they're going to get through their 20s and have their fun, and as the red pills would say, ride the carousel, get passed around or whatever, and then they're going to be in, like, at their 30, 35, 40 years old, like Pokemon, and then still be able to find a good man after they've gone through all that and had 2 to 3, I don't want people having sex before marriage in general, but 2 to 3 I think is forgivable. You can kind of be like, okay, this person is still all right in the head, they're not going to be totally messed up. But anything more than, I would say, 5, for women especially, it's and it's been proven that the pair bonding breaks after like 3, but I would say after 5, it's like you go, okay, this person's going to be kind of fucked up. They're not going to have the same. So to even have that 1% of women claiming that they've had over 40 partners before they're like, what was it, like 25 or something like that? Let me try and go back to that statistic page.
20 to 25.
Among women ages 20 to 24.
Yeah, 20 to 24. So before 25, a majority of them have had 2 to 4, which I think is forgivable. I'd be like, okay, if they don't get any more, it's still from 20 to 24, that's I would say that's a lot for how young they are. But I think as long as they don't have too much more than a 3 to 5 situation, you go, okay, you know, maybe that's forgivable, maybe that's passable, maybe I can still work with that as a dude. In the 5 to 9 range, you're going like, okay, this is a risky investment, a pretty risky investment. At the 10 plus, I would tell you guys that's a no-go. Like, that is nearly a no-go zone. And I'm not saying Christ can't redeem anybody and anybody can't be saved like Nyla Ray or whatever, even though I think she's probably a grifter. But I'm not saying those people can't be redeemed, but I'm just saying for a guy looking for a good marriage partner, 10 plus is like a no-go zone. Like, there's a lot of baggage that comes with that most men are not going to be able to deal with. And it's highly more likely that this person is going to divorce you and or cheat on you. So, and then the 40 plus, like, that's a definite, that's like, no, that's absolutely not. If a woman told me they had 40 plus partners, I'd be like, gross. I'm out of here. I'll see you later. And I'm not excusing men. Like, I'm not excusing men. I still think men who have a ton of sexual partners are also gross, but there's, but we do need to acknowledge that men and women are different, and men having a little bit more sexual partners than women is obvious. I can't tell you why. It's just the way the world is, but there's an obvious difference there where men can get a little bit more leeway than women. Not from me, not from a biblical standpoint, but I'm saying from like a worldly standpoint. I don't know why that is. It's something with nature where men can get away with having a few more sexual partners than women, and people not looking at them and being like, oh, that's gross or whatever. So
it comes down to the emotion side of it, because when you have a sexual experience with somebody that's, you know, consensual and everything, of course, you do have that release of oxytocin and all the fun, happy brain chemicals and stuff like that. But with men, we have that, like I said, there's that old saying that men are a bit more logical and women are a bit more emotional. And I think with men, we can detach more easily when it comes to casual sexual encounters. Whereas with women, maybe that's not the case. And if they end up in a sort of situation like a situationship where casual sex with one or two other men is going on the regular, they kind of get all of that emotional, positive, happy emotion flood of chemicals to the brain. But because there is no relationship there that they should want or should come with those emotions, it kind of overloads. It's kind of almost like diabetes in a weird kind of way. Like, you overload on insulin, you get diabetes. It's kind of a similar thing with women, I think, where they kind of, like, it screws up their ability to pair bond properly eventually after a certain amount of partners. I do think that's true, because I know women who have been ran through quite a bit when we were in our teens and college and stuff, early 20s, and from the age of about 21, 22, they've had a new boyfriend every 6 to 8 months if they're lucky. And they're like, I can't find a guy that's gonna stay, or I can't find a guy that I want to stay with. And it's because they don't have the ability to pair bond anymore, and because they've been opening their legs for every Tom, Dick, and Harry that shows an interest in them that they have an interest in return.
yeah, and that's in the pair bonding thing. I can again, if I do a video on it, I'll try and go look up the statistics and studies and stuff like that. But there have been studies done, and it's like, I think, again, for women, men's DNA, if they are, how do I say this nicely? If they do not use a condom, and men do the thing, you know, that I believe there was a study that said that men's DNA basically becomes part of the woman, which is a whole, again, leads me back to biblical stuff. I'm always going to do that, guys, just so you know. If you guys get annoyed with it, it's too bad. That's who I am. But the whole biblical part of that is the two becoming one, the souls intertwining into one person. You both people coming back together after the split in Genesis, where the woman was taken out from the man and became his helper because God saw it good that a man should have a helper in a woman like all the other animals that were created. So it's that coming back together and becoming one, as in obviously women have certain traits that men usually don't have, and men have traits that women usually don't have, that and both are better at certain things than others, and it's coming together to make one thing that is good at all of it. You work together. But that being said, so when women do that with guys, that happens. And like you said, for guys, because of our mental state, like logic, all that kind of stuff, it's a lot easier for us to detach, not to mention, again, not necessarily looking at it from a biblical standpoint now, but throughout history, men being able to have multiple wives or concubines and stuff like that. Not that I think it's right. I don't, to be honest. I think the nuclear family is the best way, obviously. But that being said, men can definitely detach from more men. I'm not going to say all of them. Some of them, like I think me and Kai, I couldn't do it. I tried to be a fuckboy for a while, where I could date multiple women and try and be with multiple women, and it just, every time afterwards I felt like shit. So I can't do that. I am obviously I'm Duchess only now, but I am a one woman man in general, just because that's just how I was built. But I would say there are more men than women, if not there being almost no women that can do what a man can do, and that he can, in that there are men that can break away from that mentality and be like, oh, I could just have casual sex and be fine. As opposed to women, where again, the men's DNA sticks with them for years, if not their entire rest of their lifetime after that fact. And then again, there is some kind of study that I think for you, Kai, that, not that I have it right now, I'll go try and find it again if I do a video on it, but there's another study or statistic where I think it's after three sexual partners, a woman's pair bonding ability starts to go down. Whereas with a man, it doesn't really start to go down till after, I think, 5 or 10. So it still affects men, just like age with trying to have a kid affects men, but it's not nearly as significant a factor, or it takes longer than what it does with women. So.
I mean, that study you mentioned about the DNA thing, I saw that, and as far as I know, it was just a one study that's not been studied by other teams. It was just a one study done by one team, and so I don't know how much validity there is to it. But I think if more studies are done and they come to the same conclusions, then I think we can actually pay serious attention to it. But for right now, as I said, as far as I know, it's just that one study by that one team. I think we should all take that with a huge pinch of salt, just to be on the safe side.
But I mean, I think even if you vibe it out, you can still, I would still say, whether the DNA or not, but the pair bonding thing, I think experientially most of us can agree that, I would say, between like the 3 and 5 areas where it seems like most women start to, I wouldn't necessarily, since it's experiential, I'm not going to say it's like it's like an exact science or anything, but I would say 3 to 5 is where I start seeing more women have that crazy, the crazy eyes going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the 1,000 cock stare.
Yeah, is after the 3 to 5 area.
I would say, personally, based on my experience, it's after sort of 4 or 5, personally. But then again, I have known women that have had, upwards of 10 previous sexual partners who have still managed to pair bond with their current partner, who do quite well. So I think it does vary from woman to woman, but I do think there is a general subset where it's just like, yeah, after a certain number, it does start to degrade, if you will, the ability to pair bond, I mean.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Now, guys, again, I would suggest we got 4 minutes into this video, so I would highly suggest you guys go check out the rest of it. I'll reshare it right now, but maybe I'm still, bear with me. I know you guys will, and I'll read your chats in just a second. Let me post his thing up here. Here's the video that we were watching, but bear with me because I'm still figuring out how to structure this whole thing. Unlike Nienus, I obviously don't have, you know, between 5 to 12 hours to look at stuff. So, and even she doesn't look at, if it's over like 10 minutes, she won't watch a whole video usually. But I'm still figuring out how to structure this. So if we have to skip over some stuff or I don't get to some of your guys' suggestions, I know you guys have been sending stuff in. If I don't get to some of your guys' stuff, I apologize, and I'm trying to structure it well, and maybe one day we will be able to have more of a longer stream where I can cover a bit more. But let's get back to Twitter for a minute here. What started it all? I can get rid of this now. Okay, get rid of that off of the. Get rid of the ball maxing. We're not doing that. Mixtape, not doing that anymore. Don't really care. Let's see, what else do we got here? On that same note, before we go here, we have Phil Labonte. I don't know if you know him, Kai. I believe he's the vocalist for All That Remains. Pretty decent metal band, not gonna lie. And he's a pretty bass dude, especially for being in the music scene. You don't get too many of them. A lot of music scene people are pretty woke lefty. Whenever I go to concerts, you don't know how many times I've heard the whole "fuck ICE" chant and the Donald Trump sucks, all that kind of stuff. So, and I'm like, I put up with it, but in my head I'm like, can you guys just shut up and play the music? Like that, unless you're Rage Against the Machine, who's also hypocritical. I'm kind of just like, but at least they're known for being a political band, so it's like I know what I'm getting myself into when I go in there.
Rage Against the Machine. Rage Against the Machine is more like Rage for the Machine now.
Yeah, exactly. But still, it's like I know what I'm getting into when I go, if I were to go to a Rage Against the Machine concert. But like some of these bands, I'm like, bro, you make music that's not even that you like. For example, a band I saw not too long ago, within the last few months, is this band called Big Ass Truck. I'm like, the first song you play is just a truck horn, and then you going big ass truck, and then it's a breakdown. Like, bro, I don't need to hear your politics, homie. I like, just play the music.
Yeah.
play the music. Let me mosh to it. I don't need to hear that. But so you get a lot of those bands. Almost every band is like that. Even I had a story on here from freaking Hayley Williams from Paramore, who's really gone downhill. I don't know where I put it on this list or if I got rid of it, but she was doing a solo right here, solo stuff.
What has she done to her? Is that a hat?
Yeah, that's a hat. That is a hat. Very weird hat. And she said fuck ICE and free Palestine and stuff on stage. It's like, Hayley, you make like you made like 2000s emo music, and now you make like shitty pop music. Like, bro, chill. Just sing your music and get over it. But I mean, I guess for her it works because obviously she's appealing to the type of people who now listen to that music. But everything after, let's see here, Paramore, everything after like I think the 4th or 5th album, I stopped caring. So,
I mean, like, they stopped playing Misery Business because she was like, it's so misogynistic and I don't want to contribute to that. And it's just like, girl, shut the fuck up. You know what you were doing with that song, and it's all of what you sang in that song is true then, and it's fucking true now. All right, so shut the fuck up. Stop being a preachy bitch. Get on, sing your fucking songs. You know, that's what we're here for. We're not here to hear your political takes. This is one of the big problems with like celebrities and actors and stuff. Since social media came along, the mystique is gone for a lot of these people. Because we used to look at people like, you know, Al Pacino and Marlon Brando and all those types of people.
Marlon Brando.
And we kind of like, oh, these mythical people, you know, these are the cream of the crop, you know, and that was that mystique because we didn't know what their inner thoughts were. And on like red carpet and press junkets and stuff, there would often be a publicist there that'd be like, oh no, you can't say this, can't say that.
Yeah.
So it would kind of be scripted to a degree. But now, of course, with Twitter, you know, like Stephen King, I love the guy's books, but my God, his Twitter, it just gives us unfettered access to all the bullshit that goes on in his head that we, his readers, don't want to fucking know about. You know, I mean, I haven't read any of his recent books since about 2018 because he started getting quite political and anti-Trump in his books, and I'm not a Trump guy myself. I think I've always made that clear.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want you shitting on the president of the United States in your books. The same as if I was a writer right now, I would not be shitting all over Keir Stalin Stalmar in my books, you know?
Yeah.
I would just feel like fiction is there to entertain people. If you want to put a message in there, you need to be classy about it, and it needs to be subtle. Just like To Kill a Mockingbird, you know, it's anti-racism messaging. It's wrapped up in an entertaining story. And a lot of writers these days can't put the entertainment first, mostly because a lot of them can't tell an entertaining story. That craft seems to have been lost. But, like, Stephen King, dude, you can do that. You can tell an entertaining story. You just, you know, you just are so on the nose with your political takes. And we don't need that in your books, man. If we want to see that shit, we'll follow you on Twitter, you know? Just keep it out of the books. I want you to write scary clowns and shit, not tell me about Orange Man Bad, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know why they can't just... again, like you said, I wouldn't care as much if it was like subtle or it was like it was said in a metaphor where it's like people can come to their own conclusions, or you are leading, like you lead people to the conclusion through the story on their own, right? Like it's propaganda and it's manipulative, but it's like, at least I am being entertained and I can come to the conclusion and then decide whether you're right or wrong afterwards. It's not blatant, like how like you said, Stephen King with his old lesbian looking ass now just being bluntly like super anti-Trump and all that kind of stuff. It's like, bro, come on, you can do better than that. But the and it's the same thing with bands, and that's what I'm more into. I go to concerts and stuff like that. But we have the Amity Yanuka. Oh, it's Yanuka. Hey, Yanuka. I don't think I've seen you in here before. Good to see you. And Lucky Bach have come by for the end of the stream. You guys are lucky. You're just getting the very end of it. I think we might be on for another 15 minutes, and then I gotta dip out of here. But let's see here. Elucidator. Dutch, it would be dope if you became big enough to collab with Nick Freitas. That I think he's a politician over here, and he does some based like manly, semi-manly. He's got kind of a boomer mentality, so it's like I can't agree with everything he says, but he's generally a decent guy, and he's willing to understand. Let's see here. He's a Grandmaster Chad based guy that we can all learn from. Christian, anti-communist, and promos trad men. Yeah, for the most part, he has some takes where I don't think he fully gets what men are going through right now, but I think he's at least willing to listen. Donnie Wilmeck, this would also sort of explain the racist race mixer mindset, because outside of that line of thinking, I could never understand a racist dude wanting to F a woman of a race he hates. I don't know where this came up from, Donnie. You'd have to give me some context on that one. I'm kind of confused. Rage from Lucky Bach. Rage Against the Machine is part of the machine now. Yep. Yanuka. Yeah, all the queer for Palestine trying to say they are silenced. Yeah, no, it's everywhere. Okay, so talking about this with Phil Labonte from All That Remains. I think it's their second album's pretty good. I think all the songs on that album are decent. But anyways, the New York Post, men need to lower their standards on dating apps, new study shows. And Phil says, I have literally seen men swipe right until they reach the limit for the day and receive 0 replies. It's not that men need to lower their standards. It is the women that need to lower their standards. To which we got
he's right.
We got our friend Tylen here who wrote this stuff up, and he was, the biggest thing that Tylen said, from what I understand, was that men need to get off dating apps. But I'm bringing this up because I had a discussion in the comments, I think here. Yeah, I had a discussion with Tylen and Super Earth's Templar, one of our other buddies in here, humanities officer, all that stuff, where I was like, and hopefully Kai can maybe back me up on this, or you guys in chat can talk about it. But I want to defend you guys. Let me go into my regular talking voice here, my regular talking character. That the biggest, let me try and summarize this. Let me try and give you the too long didn't read version, which is that I was basically saying, like, I understand what Tylen was getting at, but where does he expect men to go to talk to women, to attract women? Because it brings up that whole thing that we've been talking about the whole night. Men go out there, try and get out there and approach women, and then they get put on blast on social media if the woman doesn't think they're like a 10, like, or at least a 9 of a dude. That they'll get put on blast and humiliated, and other women won't want to date them and stuff like that because they have that humiliating thing online, right? So I was basically like, like, you can't really find good women anywhere, even if you get off of the dating apps. So it's like, what's the point of any of it? I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here for you kind of guys who are mainly the Gen Z guys who are having a lot of trouble finding any good women. I was like, even at churches, it's difficult to find good women who aren't already the women who have been in the church for a really long time are already taken, the good ones that have been there for a while. And then you get women coming into churches that are, again, passed around, like we were talking about earlier, who are now trying to be like, oh, I'm 30, I'm 35, and I need to settle down and find a man, so let me go to church and apologize and give my life to Christ, and then I can find a good man in the church. But the men in the church, do the men in the church deserve that? Do the most men in the church, I would say, also aren't gonna really accept that unless they've been through a ton of awful shit themselves, that they're like, oh, okay, maybe I'm on the same level as this chick. But it's generally speaking, most men, even in the church, if they learn about that past, are going to be like, no, I don't want to invest in that. I believe God has forgiven you, but I can't invest in that because I see too many red flags, too many holes that could affect the life for me and the possible kids that we could have in the future. So, and then on top of that, in churches, again, going out there to try and defend guys in churches, a lot of guys are getting told they need to do better. They need to be better. They need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. They need to repent of their sins. They need to be held accountable for their sins, which is all true, by the way. But the women are not getting the same treatment. The women are treated with a soft hand and are like, oh, you guys aren't giving yourselves enough grace. Oh, you guys just need to, you need to forgive yourselves. You need to be like, see God, see the love of God for you as he sees you and all that stuff. But whenever they sin, or whenever they do anything wrong, or whenever they have any issues that they should be held accountable for, it is not like how it used to be back in the day, where they were held accountable for it, not because we hate women, but because we know it is good for women to obviously be disciplined and held accountable just like men, but for different things in different ways, because women are different. So they're not getting a lot of that, especially in Protestant churches. Protestant churches have kind of fallen for the feminist ideals and appealing to women, and it's killing churches. And I brought all of that up because Tylen was saying men should get off of dating apps, and I'm like, but where do they go? There's literally nowhere for men to go to meet good women. The only place I can even remotely think of is maybe going overseas, where there's still a standard of tradition, of traditional women being in their roles. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I've done my time on the dating app trenches, and again, it's not men that need to lower their standards, because most men out there, speaking as somebody who's, technically the first generation of Gen Z, being born in 1997, most of us still want, families and things like that. So really our standards are be a good woman, a kind woman, want to have a family, want to be committed to one man, that one man being you. We're not asking for, complete old school kind of domination or anything like that, like you must, you're a woman, you must do as I say kind of thing. That's not what we're asking. Like, I would be more than happy if I met the right woman, if she said to me, I want kids, but I'm a dentist, for example, and I worked really hard to become a dentist. I don't want to give up on that if we have kids. I would be like, okay, honey, that's fine. I'm more than happy to be the stay-at-home dad. That doesn't bother me at all personally. Some men might look at me negatively for it, but that personally to me isn't a problem, as long as it didn't affect the relationship in any way, in a negative way. And I don't think it would, for the most part. Like I said, it would all entirely depend on the woman as an individual and how compatible you are with her. But most guys want that old school, traditional, I'll go to work, you stay at home, look after the kids, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of women have this negative perception of that these days, because they think, oh, the man goes to work, he's the breadwinner, he's the one that has the reins. That's not necessarily true, because if you look back at the old days, the man would go out to work, he would go to work, he'd come home, kiss his wife, have dinner, play with the kids, put the kids to bed, whatever. But the wife was at home doing whatever needed to be done, and it would be like, oh, we need groceries. Okay, the man would go, well, here's the money to go to get the groceries, and he would just leave her to it. Here's the money to pay the bills. You go do it. You do what bill needs to be paid first. That's all on you. So really, who's really in control when you look at it that way? There was a time when all the paycheck would go to the woman, and she would be the person that sits there and says to the husband, okay, here's like 30 quid, 30 pounds for your time down the pub at the end of the week, each week, back when, you could go down to the pub and, you could buy a pint for £2 or whatever, back when the economy was actually really good. So a lot of women, like I said, that's a big misconception, that they had no control or no say over anything. It was more equal than they realize. It's just feminism's corrupted a lot of young women's minds into thinking that that's not the way it was. But like I said, a lot of guys are just like, our standards are, the bar is so fucking low that a lot of women, they never see that, they for some reason they can't see it. It's literally just be a good woman, be a kind woman, want to have a family, unless of course the guy doesn't want to have a family either, then that's fine. If it's just two people that don't want to have a family but want to get married, that's fine. Be somewhat attractive to the male, that the guy, everybody's different. Everybody likes physically what they like, not everybody likes the same physical attributes. So it's all like, just be somebody that's attractive, have some of the same values, have some of the same interests. You don't want to be, I don't believe that complete opposites can work. I've seen people try, and it's always failed. I think you need to have some common ground, some common interests, but I also think you need to have different things that you both enjoy separately, because if you do spend too much time in each other's pockets, it can breed resentment. So there is some truth to that. But for the most part, it's just be kind, be a good woman, be committed to me, the one guy, have a family if that's what we both want, or not if neither of you want that. That's literally the standards that the guys have these days. So it's not us that have the high standards. It's women that have these ridiculously high standards. You know, like you see it all the time. Women are like, he's got to have a 5-figure salary or a 6-figure salary, and it's just like, you know, most guys don't actually have that, right? And most of the ones that do are not going to be around as much as you like them to be, you know, because they're out making that kind of money and they have to be married to the job, you know, kind of thing. So it's just like you can't have your cake and eat it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But like, no, the standards for men are not high. You do get some guys out there on online dating, and in their what I'm looking for section, you just read it and you cringe because you're just like, dude, there's no fucking way you're gonna find that. But like, that's a rare case. Most guys, their bios are very, very thin. They're not particularly long, very, very vague and sparse. It's because, like I said, standards for us aren't particularly high, and as I've explained, basically what they are. And women aren't the ones meeting that. It's basically what it is. And Thailand, I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on Thailand here or cause any kind of drama, but Thailand's a gay man. He doesn't know firsthand where men need to go elsewhere when it comes to looking for women, because he's not into women, so he doesn't have that experience. And I'm not saying he shouldn't comment on it, but I am saying it's a discussion that you should tread lightly on unless you're in the trenches of that topic, is what I'm trying to say. But no disrespect to Thailand. I mean, I've never interacted with the guy personally. He seems pretty based on a lot of things from what I've seen, but you know, it's something that you, like I said, you need to tread lightly on if you're not in the trenches of that specific topic.
Yeah, I agree, and that's it. I agree in some respects. I think generally speaking, I would say like 99%, maybe if I'm being generous, 95% of the time, it really should be the man who's going out there and doing the work and bringing home the paycheck and stuff like that. Not necessarily because we want to be. I would say unless you have a job that you are really interested in or that you have a passion for, you're generally still going out there and grinding. Like, it's not like it's fun or anything like that. Like, my job is okay. Working like turning wrenches or whatever is okay, but if I really had a choice, I wouldn't be doing it. But I do generally find, again, like, I guess if I'm being generous, 95% of the time, the guy, whether he wants to or not, has to be out there doing the work, doing the hard work, because for women, it's how do I put this? Men can handle it. Men can go out there and be like, okay, yeah, I can just grind and be okay. But for women, it's like they have a better role in serving the home and stuff like that. Men can do it too, but it's just generally better if a woman's doing it, and unfortunately that means the man has to go out and provide in that respect. But we're willing to take on that responsibility generally, and we generally do it better in that respect. But women nowadays, like you were saying, kind of want it all. A lot of women want to be able to do the job and have the kids, and like, they want it all. And it's like, no matter what, they don't seem to understand that if you can have whatever you want, like you can have whatever you want, but you have to choose. You're going to be whatever one thing you're choosing, you're gonna be sacrificing the other thing. And they seem to have been sold a lie as well, where they're like, oh, I can do it all. I can be it all. I can be a job, boss babe, whatever, and then I can come home and have kids and have a family and have the nice white picket fence. It's like, no, I'm sorry, you can't. You're always gonna have to sacrifice something. And if it was me in the woman's shoes, I'd be like, hell no, I'm not going to work. I'm going to go be at home with the kids and take care of the house. And even though it's a job, it's still a more difficult job. I would argue it is more fulfilling than working for a company 8 to 12 hours a day. But men can handle that a little bit better, I feel like, which is why we see, I feel like a lot of women's jobs, at least in tech, for a while, were just adult daycare, where they were going into the work, but they weren't really doing what men would consider quote unquote work. They were going and getting like snacks and then hanging out in break rooms and maybe having like, I'll be generous and say like 5 meetings a day about nothing, and then they would go get more snacks and then they'd go hang out with their friends after work.
Oh yeah, we've all seen the Gundo TikTok tech girly videos. Yeah.
Yes. And hello, Dynamodel, by the way. Thanks for stopping in. We're wrapping up here, but thank you for stopping in for the last little part. So it's generally just better. I'm not saying it can't work out. I think I do know a couple people where the man was mostly staying at home and the woman was mostly working. But generally speaking, I would say it's best case scenario that the man is the one working and the woman is the one staying home. But
yeah. I mean, like I said, it can work. But it does depend on both the man and the woman as an individual, and their compatibility for that thing. It's not one of those things that works for everybody. The more traditional side of it is it's the norm for a reason, you know.
Yeah, and it's also because I was going to say that it seems that more likely than not, when men are stay-at-home husbands, that eventually it seems like the women become jealous of that, and then they end up and they see the husband as like lesser, like they're like, oh, you're not being a real man and stuff like that, even if there was an agreement beforehand where it's like the husband was like, oh yeah, I'll be the stay-at-home husband and you can keep your job. A lot of women emotionally end up getting jealous and be like, why can't I do that? Why does he get to stay home and just be with the kids and have the easy job and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, lady, we worked this out beforehand. Like you could have been the one doing this, but we can't both be the ones working or else the kids are going to get neglected. And I can attest to that because my parents, a lot of the time I was the kid left at school until about 6 or 7 at night sometimes. And this is nothing, I don't hate my parents, I love my parents. They did the best that they could with the knowledge and ability that they had at the time, but to pay for our house and stuff like that, they both had to work really long hours and overtime and stuff like that. So I really didn't see them a whole ton, and I was at school from like 6 or 7 in the morning till 6 or 7 at night sometimes, and that takes a toll on a kid too. So
yeah.
As opposed to having at least one parent at home with them, raising them essentially. I got raised by the schools, so.
I mean, another big issue, and I just want to lightly touch on this because I know we're short on time, is the economy has left the society in such a state where you can't really afford to not have both parents working. Both parents kind of need to now, and that's another big problem. There used to be a time when you could afford to raise a family, 3 kids, on one person's salary. Pay all the bills and stuff. You can't really do that now on a basic 9 to 5 salary, which is a problem because this is, a lot of people go, oh, this is a part of capitalism. It's not capitalism. It's a conglomeracy, monopolized conglomeracy issue in the pursuit of continuous financial growth. This is what the Japanese are starting to understand now with the growing alarm, is chasing that big GPD growth. It's not going to do you good in the long term, because ultimately you want to have a really good economy. That's great, but who are you going to leave that economy for if you've not got people having kids?
Yeah.
Because you've got everybody at work. And a lot of people say it's a capitalism thing. It's not. We haven't lived in a capitalist world since the 1990s. The very late 1990s, when internet shopping became a thing. That's when capitalism actually died. We've been in a monopolized conglomeracy ever since. And a lot of people don't realize that. And a lot of people go, oh, well, we're only there because of capitalism. It's like, no, the reason we're there is because the courts were not upholding the laws. They were not preventing big corporate buyouts. Like when Disney, for example, bought 20th Century Fox. That should not have happened, because it restricts and it restricts the competition. For capitalism to work, you need all these different companies and all these different industries in competition with each other, setting different prices. So the market is there. There's a wider pool for people to go and spend their money on. If one company starts buying up other big companies, we're not in capitalism anymore, because it reduces the competition, which a lot of people fail to understand. That's a very simple layman's way of putting it, because I could talk about this stuff for hours, but that's essentially why we're not in a capitalist world anymore. We're in this monopolized conglomeracy, which is the cyberpunk future that everyone doesn't want. The big mega corporations and stuff. That's the road we're on. And like I said, the courts are there to stop these big buyouts. I mean, Stephen King, even himself, because we brought him up earlier, he testified in a U.S. court to stop, I think it was Penguin, the Penguin publishers buying out another big publisher over there in the U.S. And he was like, it's gonna decrease the market, and readers are gonna have less places to go to buy books. Writers are gonna have less places to go and sell their books to make their money. And it's just a bad deal for everybody. And thankfully, the courts actually said, no, we're not going to allow this buyout to go through. And a lot of people go, well, why do the courts let certain buyouts go through? And it comes to money. They get a big stack of cash lodged in the pocket of their ass, their trousers, their jeans, or whatever, by companies like Disney, like Amazon, to be able to get these deals to go through. These back-end deals and dark alleys and stuff. A lot of people think it's all made up, but it's all actually true.
Yeah, and people obviously we could see that with Disney as the ultimate representation of that. It's freaking Disney has Fox, like you said, so they have The Simpsons, they have Fox News, they have what else? I guess
Predator.
Technically, Family Guy, I think too.
Yeah.
I think they obviously they have the Star Wars stuff, which totally went downhill when they bought it. They have all the Marvel stuff, which was okay for a minute and then totally went downhill.
The difference with the buyout of Star Wars, though, was they bought Lucasfilm, which was the production company. They didn't buy out the studio, which was 20th Century Fox. So that was the difference there. That was more of a private sale thing, because Lucasfilm could have sold to anybody. It didn't really matter. But if you're buying another rival company, which is what they did when they bought 20th Century Fox, they just completely absorbed everything that company had the rights to. There was a couple of things they didn't, because the rights weren't strictly owned by 20th Century Fox. They were just licensed to, the IP was licensed to them, and the IP rights holders kind of pulled it back. But most of the stuff that 20th Century Fox had, Disney absorbed and have ruined with substandard product like Alien Romulus and the Predator movies they've done of late. Just for an example. And it does it dilutes the market, it decreases the market, it shrinks the market, and it leaves people with less places to go. And like I said, with capitalism to work, you need the competition there, and the competition's decreasing all the time right now. And it's all in the pursuit of money and taxes. You know, the governments want taxes to skim a lot of money for their own benefit off of the taxes that we pay. And if you've got both men and women in the workplace, you get more taxes paid because more people are working and more people have to pay income tax. So that means more money for the politicians to slide into their back pockets under the table. And a lot of people go, oh, that doesn't happen. You're an idiot if you think that doesn't happen. It's been happening since politics and taxation began.
Yep. And then Lucky Bach brought up they have ESPN2. Dynamodel said, or Lucky Bach, one of them. Hold on, let me see here. Lucky Bach was talking about the difference between men who really worked and created their own success versus the guys who are just trying to get out of responsibilities. And I can kind of relate to that because I was at one point just working a job to get by, and I could still stay at my parents' house, and I wasn't really paying rent or anything like that. And during that time, again, I look back on that and see where I'm at now, trying to do the content stuff, because I've been trying to do the content stuff for years, but I wanted to do the content stuff back then, and I was too lazy to try and do stuff like this, or maybe a little bit not confident in myself and my speaking ability, and also that just videos take a lot longer, but I wanted to do it back then, and then I didn't start doing it until now when I have very little time, but somehow I'm finding the time to do it and try and make it work. And I've done a million times more than when I had a bunch of free time. So same with my job. Obviously, when I started getting serious with the Duchess, I was like, oh, and even a little bit before her, I was like, okay, I need to start looking at a serious job if I want to be taken seriously. So I was like, even if it's something that I'm not really interested in, as long as it will be able to support me and a family and all that kind of stuff, and it's something that I have a mild, basically something I can put up with, I was like, okay, I'll get into that. And that was the whole mechanic stuff. I was like, I'm not super duper interested in it. Obviously, I'd rather be doing content, or for a minute it was doing art and stuff like that, or dream job. I'm sure Kai can relate to this, dream job being like a freaking musician or something like that. But I realized that wasn't happening. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to settle for something, I might as well do something I have a slight interest in, something that's going to be useful in other parts of life. Stuff like, because obviously I can work on my own car or anything mechanical now that I have the information. But it's not something I would, if I had a preference, I wouldn't be doing it. But I do it because obviously I had to get serious if I wanted to be taken seriously. So, but we got to move on a little bit here just to finish up the night, and I want to finish on a positive note. So we're taking a look at good old Pizza Hut, the old Pizza Hut. I don't know if you, Kai, were around for this. I know you were over here for a minute, but the old Pizza Hut where they had a pizza like buffet where you go and pull off whatever a piece of whatever pizza you like. They had the salad bar. They had this old school looking like oh shit, that's loud. They had an old school like stained glass lamps with these wood table booths and the red cups and all this cool stuff that it's like, gosh, it's loud. I don't want to turn on the music. All this nostalgia, right? And people,
like classic Pizza Hut. Yeah,
I saw it going around for a little while, for a few weeks, where people were posting this nostalgia baked Pizza Hut, and I had talked about it with my friends a couple of times in the past few years. Like, oh yeah, you remember Pizza Hut? They had the iconic looking building. They had all this stuff.
Pac-Man machine.
Yeah, and it was like, and then some absolute Chad decided to buy up like 80 Pizza Huts in the US and go back to old school Pizza Hut with them. I don't know where they are. I'm gonna have to look up one because I want to go to one. So
yeah, like it's strange, man, because like I look at a lot of old like pictures from like the 90s and in the early 2000s. You know, I have memories of, you know, McDonald's being this really cool, fun, light, vibrant
Have a good
place,
night,
and I
Lucky
walk
Buck.
into a I walk into a McDonald's now, and it's like it's been designed by a pretentious, depressed art person from college or from some art college or something. You know, it's not vibrant. It's too clinical. It's too. I think it was aesthetic nihilism. I think it's called, or design nihilism or something like that. It's not. It's too corporate looking and clinical, and it's not. But like the old Pizza Hut, like in those images there, it's very homey. You know, almost kind of like you're going over to Grandpa and Grandma's house, and everything feels lived in and cozy almost. You know. Like the booths, they feel like the old sofa that's had a lot of people sat on them over the years. Whereas everything now, like I said, it just feels all bland and clinical and dull, like
I
a
think
depressed. Like look,
it's called
look
like
at that Pizza
postmodernism
Hut
or something.
outlet. Yeah, something like that. You know, but look at that. Look at the Pizza Hut, the outside, the exterior. Like, look how warm that looks. If you were to see a modern one, it would just look like a gray blob, no character to it at all. And then you go in and look at the booth with the Tiffany lampshade and stuff like that. I mean, it's not Tiffany, but it's obviously inspired by.
Yeah.
Because if that's a Tiffany lampshade, ooh, that's some big spenders right there. But like, look how homey and inviting that looks. Whereas you go to a Pizza Hut now, it's like walking into some wanky, pretentious hipster bar in London, you know, on the North Bank, you know, that like serves beer that's been brewed in someone's bathtub and tastes like unwashed feet. You know, that's what a lot of these places look like now, those swanky wank hipster bars that are just crap. Not very inviting, not very pleasant to be in. But yeah, you look at like the old, look at that, look, you know, look at that, look how much more cool and inviting that looks. Like, I want to go there now and sit down and have a pizza, you know. Whereas if it was the Pizza Hut in my county, because we've only got one, it's ridiculous. It's a horrible looking building to go inside of and sit down. It's like I said, it's like one of those wanky, pretentious hipster bars. It's a horrible, horrible place. Same with McDonald's and Burger King and KFC.
Yep.
You know, I remember the early 2000s. They were all so much fun to be in. You know, like McDonald's used to have the bull pit. You know, Ronald McDonald. You'd have Ronald McDonald, like the statues of Ronald McDonald. I mean, you can't have that over here in the UK anymore. Same with like characters on cereal boxes. You can't have like. Do you remember the? You probably don't remember Cocoa Pops. But there used to be the Cocoa Pops monkey, the Cookie Crisp wolf, the Snap Crackle and Pop on the Rice Krispies, the little gnomes and stuff. You can't have any of that anymore over here because it's encourages children to eat foods that aren't good for them. Horrible British government coming in and sucking the fun out of everything. To be fair, that was made like 10 years ago, that decision, so it's not really a current government thing, but still, they could reverse it, you know? But there's like a lot of places have had the fun and the hominess sucked out of them, restaurants and stuff like that. So it's good to see stuff like this coming back. It would be awesome to see it implemented nationwide, worldwide, but of course with the Pizza Hut, it's franchise owned, isn't it? It's not a specific company thing.
Yeah, I guess it's
Like,
a franchise. It seems like because he bought 80 of them, so I mean, I guess that's he bought 80 franchises of the franchise. So I don't know
Like,
how
in
he's
my
getting
county
away
over-
with doing old school though. Like, because I thought the corporate tells you what to do, but maybe I guess he got in touch with like corporate and said, "Hey, I want to do this thing. I'm gonna buy up 80 of them and try and do this thing. Is that cool?" And they were like, "Yeah, okay."
I mean, maybe like they've got because he owns the franchise, so that individual or those individual outlets, maybe he's got a lot more sway over what happens in terms of interior design. Who knows? Like I know over here in my county, in the UK, we've got 2 McDonald's outlets. We're soon to have 3, but one of them's open 24 hours and the other one isn't. So then it all comes down
okay.
to the individual franchise owner. So, but like interiorly, they're both the same. They look almost identical, like in terms of the tables, chairs, interior design, almost identical. It's just the times are different. One's open 24 hours. There'll be differences in the menu too from time to time. Like sometimes one will serve the McRib and the other one won't. And the Big Tasty will be in one for 6 months and then it'll be in the other one for 6 months and stuff like that. But for the most part, interior design wise, they're the same. It's just like I said, one's open 24 hours, the other one isn't. It's crazy how it all works. But yeah, it must be like maybe it's different over there. Maybe he's got more power for what goes on inside the franchises he owns.
See, I need to. They have this this news report during the day. I need to see it at night because that's really when it looks like the Pizza Hut. Like,
Yeah.
like you didn't go to the. I mean, some people did, and I'm sure I did at some point, or somebody did at some point. Go to Pizza Hut for like lunch or something like that. But realistically, most people went for dinner, and so I got to see it there with like what we had in the. When I was looking at the other post, the nostalgia post with that like orange tint, you know what I mean? That like orange nostalgia looking tint, the 90s.
Yeah, it's dark out. It's dark outside. You know, you've been out with the guys. They've watched the local football game or something, and you're just like, hey, let's go grab a pizza, and you'd all chip in.
Yeah.
And you'd all buy like a really large pizza and stuff like that, and you'd all be sat there. Maybe there was a jukebox playing music or something, you know. But yeah, those old pictures, man. Like, yeah, that nostalgia post. You gotta have stuff like that, man. That's really where you gotta see it. Does it capture the magic?
There we go. That's it. See, it's this tint. It's like you don't get this tint during the day. It's you gotta be. So I gotta see it. What he does with it at night. I really hope he's not just nostalgia farming. It looks like he's trying to do it proper, and I really hope it does because. If I get a chance to, I'm going to go to one. I don't know where I'd find one. I'm not going to tell you guys where in California I am, but I'll try and find one in California. And if I don't know how long I'll have to travel, but I'll do my damnedest. So that's going to be probably the end of my stream. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys with one last thing. I can take this off of here now. But where is it? Where is it?
I've noticed,
there
dude,
it is.
like this stream and the last one that we did with Spider Bro a few months back, like we yap so much that it's like if we're not careful, it's gonna turn into an EFAP episode. You know, if we're not careful. Not that that's a bad thing, but at the same time, it's just like, yeah, we got topics to get through. We like ADHD brain, I guess.
That's we got through what I wanted to get through, but I think. Making videos is probably if I want to focus on a topic and actually talk about it, that's probably where I'm going to do it. But anything that's like this, I'm just going to get into a yap and I'm reading chat and talking with chat. And that's half the reason these guys come here is to chat with us, you know, bro time or whatever. But let me see here. So this is for y'all. I want to show it every Friday now.
Today is Friday in California.
He just says today is Friday in California. I don't know what this is from, but and he says shoot.
Dude,
it just shoots the guy for some reason. I also don't understand these doctors with like knives that are at the beginning just clanging them together.
It's East Asian, dude. There's a lot of crazy East Asian stuff. Have you seen the East Asian horror movie where it's like, what is it called? Starfish Hitler?
Oh, yeah,
where,
yeah. It's like a Power Ranger type thing.
Yeah. Like, there's all kind of crazy stuff out there, man. The East Asians, they do some crazy shit, you know, whether it's cat girl anime stuff or stuff like this.
Yep.
Much love to the East Asians, though.
With that, everybody, it's been great. Thank you, Kai, for jumping in tonight.
Dude, it's been awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, good to talk to you again. And the rest of y'all, chat, thank you for joining us. Thank you for hanging out with the yap. Hopefully I will be back to gaming next week. Maybe it might take a couple. It might take a couple, honestly. But tomorrow I will be doing production stuff like assistant Jamie, Joe Rogan, the Jamie Pull It Up guy. I'll be doing that for Spider and Pixel over on VTaps. You can go check out their channels, and I'll be on any one of those. And we will be back next week with another Friday Night Flame War. I don't know if I'll have a guest or not, but we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants, or however you say that saying. So with that, you guys have a good night. Let me put the music back on so I can go take a piss, because I really need to.
All right, good night, everybody. Stay safe.
I'll be right back, Kai.